Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are back for another live stream on the channel, and this one, it is a big one, as it is the first game for the South Africans since that Rugby World Cup epic performance to make it through and get themselves the trophy. I'm very excited for this game, which is why that sentence just seemed to drag on and on. But South Africa versus Wales, it is a warm-up for the July internationals, where we will see the Springboks going head-to-head with Ireland and Wales. They have got the Aussies, a little bit of an unknown at the moment for not just Wales, but also for Australia. We recently seen the Aussie side announced. Joe Schmidt, he is cooking for the Wallabies, as some of the cool kids would say. I'm not one of those, though. But throughout this hour of build-up, you heard me correctly, an hour, we wouldn't be able to fit it all into 30 minutes, so we're going to be talking for a long time before we jump straight into the match. That does take place at 1 a.m. New Zealand time, but it is 3 p.m. for you guys. And it's South Africa. But looking through, first of all, at these starting lineups for these two sides, there were many questions about who Rassie Erasmus would be putting in his starting lineup for this matchup. There were a few injury concerns, but it seems like most of those were completely dealt with. Oxner Shea in the front row alongside Malcolm Marx for his first performance since that World Cup, and Vincent Koch there as the number 3. Evan Etzebeth and Franco Mostert, a formidable locking duo. Etzebeth really having a lot of minutes throughout the URC season for the Sharks. Gone through and got a lot of stats about these guys from their URC seasons as well. We will be looking through at those in a short moment. But Franco Mostert at 5. He has been playing in Japan. Will be ready to go back with this box side. Kwagga Smith, he was one of the players that had an injury, and they weren't sure whether or not he would be ready for this game or whether he would have to wait a little bit longer before we got to see that man back in action. It was expected that first Irish test match might have been when we saw him back. He's already back though, and I mean, if it was anything to expect from Kwagga Smith, it is that he would be raring to go before the expected date. Peter Steph-Toy, that man had a dream World Cup final, and he will be hoping to back up that performance, not just here, but up against the Irish, which is only 2 weeks away. Evan Ruiz, he has got some impressive stats from the URC season, although there is one stat that we will break down, which does make him a little bit of a concern for that number 8 jersey. Faf de Klerk starting at 9 with Jordan Hendrikse as the starting 10. He is on debut for this matchup. The question of whether it would be Hendrikse, Masuku, or whether they would go with Manie Libbok. It seems like Libbok's going to be missing out for now, and Jordan Hendrikse gets a big opportunity here going head-to-head with Sam Costello. Esterhuizen and Jesse Kriel will be the midfield combination, so Dear Lindy will make his way off the bench. Makazole Mapimpi at 11, Edwil van der Merwe as the number 14, also on debut, and Apalele Fasi, he hasn't got too many caps for the Springboks, but a big opportunity here, and his stats throughout the URC season also very impressive. Looking at the chat here, we have got, when is the next game after this? It is going to be the URC final, and that one is going to be taking place at 4 a.m. New Zealand time, so we are starting at 3:30 a.m. New Zealand time, as there will be plenty to talk about for that game as well. Hi Amish, it's 8 a.m. on the US East Coast, with a forecast high of 35 degrees Celsius. Geez, that is pretty warm. Where was my name in the All Black squad? You left me out. I forgot what position you played, Manny, so that's why I couldn't put yourself in. We have got South Africa should win this by 50 plus points. Wales are appalling. Says Akaris. Yeah, the more that I dug into the stats and the more that I look through at these two sides, like, it is a really concerning game for Wales, because there is a chance that they could get dominated in this game. And that is the last thing that a lot of these young guys with maybe low confidence at international level want to experience. You want to be able to go out there and feel competitive, but it may be anything but that when this game at Twickenham does start up. We have got up there Hamish. I hope you're well, says Bill. Doing very well, mate. And go the box, says Marthinus. As well as what's up, Kiwi. I must freak the world to witness the box depth. Box by 30, says Warren. And that's the thing, like, theoretically, they are missing, of course, those injured players, which we will go through later on as well. But they are also missing their Bulls players. Someone like a Cameron Hanekom, someone like Kutli Arinsa, Vili LaRue, all guys that I believe will be there for the Springbok throughout the July internationals up against the Irish. They have to kind of re-gel once they get added back into the side. But, of course, they have got their own goals, and that is to win that URC final, which is just around the corner. We have got BFTA. I said hello, welcome in. Hope you are keeping well. And also warm greetings and salutations from the island, says Kevin. And box 36, Wales 12, Japan 17, England 52, says Manny M. And how are you today, says Yako. Doing very well still. We got to witness that Super Rugby Pacific final. Now, that was nowhere near as close as a lot of people wanted it to be. I am hoping that this game is a little bit closer, but on paper, when we look through at this Welsh side, there is a chance that it could be extremely one-sided. And I don't want to throw too much out there, right? But I feel like if somehow Wales were able to win this game, and I know that people will say it's a warm-up, it's not the Boks' strongest side, but this would have to be one of the biggest upsets we have seen in a long time if this Welsh side, with combined caps of almost less than Ebenezer by himself, could somehow get themselves a win here. But we look through Gareth Thomas, Dewey Lake, and also in the front row it is going to be, I believe it's actually Azarati who is starting at tight head prop, but Screech and Carter will be the locking duo. Both have great tackling stats throughout the URC for the Dragons. Plumtree, as well as Botham and Aaron Wainwright, they're going to have to hold it all together. But of course, across from them, Evan Royce, Kwaka Smith, and Peter Steph-Toy. Going to be a tough day at the office. Bevan gets an opportunity at 9. This youngster, Ellis Bevan, he's 24 years of age. He's on debut for Wales, and they have thrown him straight in the deep end. They have got Gareth Davis off the bench for a little bit of cover, but it's certainly going to be a great test for him. Similar to Jordan Hendrickson for the Springboks, we've got to remember these guys are pretty much being given the opportunity to say, go out there, show us what you can do. Let's see whether or not you're good enough to be in our side. And, you know, Bevan, I've seen his highlights from the URC. He's a decent player, but is this going to be just a bit too much of a step up for him going up against the defending world champions? Costello at 10, still a young player in his own right, replacing Dan Biggar after their World Cup cycle. Got a long way to go, but he's looking like he's going in the right direction. Mason Grady and Owen Watkin, they will be the midfield combination with Rio Dyer, Liam Williams, and Cameron Winnett there at number 15. He was one of those players from the Six Nations. Not many people knew him beforehand. Not many people knew him that well after, but the ones who followed the Six Nations did start to get a bit of an appreciation for what that youngster was able to do. We have got Go the Boks afternoon. All my favourite rugby lovers go the Bok. Yeah, isn't it crazy stat that Eben alone has more caps than the entire Welsh pack? Something like that says Pop Jorts. Yeah, and it just shows that, you know, experience is a massive thing. And Wales at the moment do not have it. They lost Alan Wynne-Jones. They then lost Dan Biggar. And having a few other guys injured at the moment definitely does not help them, you know. The fact that they don't have Adam Beard. The fact that in that back line they're missing, you know, the likes of a Thomas Williams. It just really could mean that this game is free-flowing and not in a good way for the Welsh. Where would you say the Boks outclassed the Welsh today? Or are we balanced? Nah, the Springboks definitely have the advantage in this game, and there's no beating around the bush about it. They should win comfortably, but whether or not that happens is still to be confirmed. All Blacks to name their squad on Monday, that is correct. And we will, of course, be letting you know about who's in that squad, I'm sure. It's not the strongest side for South Africa. Wales are terrible, even with their best side. This is not their best side either, says Akaris. And Boks should win, but they haven't played as a unit for at least 10 months so far. The first half, we may look a bit rusty, but never underestimate the Welsh, says Jordan. And I think one benefit that Wales have is the fact that this game is being played in Twickenham. So because of that, there is that neutral ground. It will slightly feel like more of a home ground maybe for the Welsh. But then saying that, the last game that the Springboks played at Twickenham, they beat New Zealand by the largest margin they had ever beaten them by, I believe, was the stat. So they don't mind this ground, I think is the best way of putting it. My real score prediction, Wales 33-27. I don't know why, but I feel an upset. Probably be wrong, though, says Padza. An afternoon, all my favourite rugby lovers, and Go the Boks, says Ta. And England were very impressive against Japan in this morning's match. Did you watch the England match? I did not get to see all of it because we were also covering Super Rugby's final. But yeah, they just sped up. I saw it was 7 points to 3 at one point, and then from there, England just kept on going and going and going. And speaking of England, of course, last Six Nations, we did see them finish second in the overall standings. There were a few upsets throughout this competition, although unfortunately for Wales, they were not one of them who were able to cause those upsets. Their last game of the Six Nations up against the Italians, in which they were defeated at Principality Stadium, which really closed out a disappointing Six Nations campaign. Now, of course, under Warren Gatland with a new squad after the Rugby World Cup, it was never going to be easy, but I don't think many people anticipated the kind of results that we did see in the end for the Welsh. Definitely because in a couple of their games they were close, but they didn't quite have what it took to get that last point or get that last try that would have given them the lead. Whereas for the South Africans, looking at their last 4 games, I'm sure this will bring back some beautiful memories for some South African supporters. The game up against Tonga, 49 points to 18. That's probably the one that people don't remember as much. But when you talk about Wales and the way that I was saying that they weren't able to get that 1 point that they needed to be able to get themselves some victories, if there's any side that knows a thing or two about getting a 1-point win, 3 in a row in the playoff games for the South Africans to win that Rugby World Cup. 29 points to 28 over the French, a back and forth encounter that could have gone either way, but the Springboks, they held on and they showed their grit and determination to get themselves the win over the home side as well. Then up against the English, that was one of the best English performances I believe we have seen in recent times. The way that they were able to mitigate the way that the South Africans were playing and also really challenge them. But once again, 1-point win for the South Africans. And then that final, the lowest of the bunch in terms of the scoring, 12 points to 11 in favour of the South Africans. So, like I mentioned, we've got a side that don't really know how to put a nail in the coffin, whereas we've got a side here in the Springboks that know exactly what they need to do to get that win, even if it is by the thinnest of margins. In the chat, we have got Chiefs played pretty poorly tonight. Just really didn't have much for that blue side. Yeah, unfortunately, they did really struggle in that game. I thought it was going to be a lot closer in that contest, to be honest, but yeah, the Chiefs just didn't really seem to show up. Their discipline was really poor. I think the end penalty count was 12-5, and that didn't include all the other times that the Chiefs had penalty advantage against them. Although the Boks haven't had much time to prepare tonight or together before this match, but I think it may be raining Springbok tries today, says Lilia. I agree. I feel like, you know, we talk about the fact that maybe the side hasn't had as long together, and Wales are in the exact same boat. We've got to remember this Welsh side. Some of these guys have only had 3 caps and less in that regard. So for the Springboks, they at least have the benefit of a majority of their veteran players. Yes, they haven't played together recently, but they've played together a lot in the past, whether that's Etzebeth and Mostert as the locking duo, whether that's the front row of Marks, Oxnechet and Vincent Koch, whether that's Peter Steph Toy alongside Huaha Smith. You know, they've got a lot of experience in certain key positions in this matchup, whereas you look at the locking duo for Wales, it is Ben Carter and Matthew Screech. Now, for a casual viewer, I don't think people would know who either of those men are. So that is one of the dangers that the South Africans have, or sorry, the Welsh have, is the fact that they just don't have that notoriety out there on the field and they don't have that experience to fall back on if things go wrong early on. What do you think the score is going to be for this game? I said on the podcast it was pretty harsh, but I said I can see like a 50 points to 12 or a 50 points to 3 or 6 or something like that. I just feel like it's going to be one of those games that unfortunately we may see quite a mismatch in this contest, and it's all right when it's taken place as a group stage match of a Rugby World Cup, such as when South Africa played Romania or when they had a little bit of a one-sided game up against Tonga. But when you're in a matchup that's supposed to build your confidence heading into the July internationals, where both sides do have tough series, you know, this might not be it for the Welsh. Here we have got there in the chat as the Boks run first run under the new rules. Wonder how the game plan works. Boks run to run more. I don't think it will change too much, to be honest. Of course, that scrummaging, I believe we're playing under the new scrum law, aren't we? Which involves a free kick. You can't actually go for the scrum reset. I wouldn't be surprised, though, in that case, whether or not the Springboks take a quick tap and then just go with the up and under, try and put the pressure on that way and win the territory battle. Something else we need to remember, in this game, the new TMO laws are actually in play, which means that if you score a try, the TMO can go back to the last time that the ball went out or there was a stoppage in play to find a knock-on or any sort of thing that would disallow a try. It may take a lot longer. Then we've also got the other side of things, which is live TMO. It can take a decision and tell the referee right then and there, and the ref can use his judgment to then say, yep, I believe him, or we'll wait and see whether we need to have another look at that. We have got, hi, how much are you covering Barbars Fiji? We aren't, only because it overlaps with the URC final, but we will be letting you know what is happening in that game at the same time. If that makes sense, it's going to be a little bit of a co-commentary type arrangement. Are the Bulls playing their final later today? They certainly are, going head-to-head with the Glasgow Warriors. That game should be great. It's happening at Loftus, so a home field advantage for the South Africans. We have got, do you know, weather predictions for today's game? I think the last I heard, it's actually going to be quite nice and fine for this game, which is actually the same location that the Barbars are playing, Fiji. That one happening just a little bit later on. We got James in the chat. Evening, Hamish. Checking in from Brisbane, mate. Talofa lava to all the Blues fans out there. What a win and what a night. Auckland for life. What time is kickoff? So it is going to be in 45 minutes, Akaris, that this game will be kicking off. South Africa will win this game playing even with 13 men, says Tyrone. I mean, to be fair, though, they don't really want to be playing with 13 men. I know what you're saying, but at the same time, to get through this game for the South Africans, they have to make sure that they keep their discipline because they don't want a Jasper Wiese situation, which involved him getting a red card in a premiership game, which now means that he cannot play in the Irish series. If any South African gets a red card now, they will not face Ireland. And that is a massive one. Imagine someone like an Eben Etzebeth out of that series, or imagine an injury comes in for the South Africans here. It could be game-changing for them. Explain, please. TMO can run back how far now, and does the CPT I get to ask for assistance? So pretty much the TMO can go back as far as the whistle. So if there's been like a stoppage, ball's gone out or something along those lines, they can play for 2 minutes and the TMO still has the power to go right back and check from that first second of the 2 minutes if he's seen something. Now, they're hoping that the live TMO is going to help that situation, which pretty much involves the position of, he can say live, I've seen a high shot or I've seen a knock on, you can go back and go to the scrum or the penalty. I don't know how effective it's going to be. I don't know whether or not the TMOs are going to have too much voice now, which I know was already a concern for a lot of people, but I am hoping it doesn't change too much in the way that the game is played. But looking through at their benches, ladies and gentlemen, just quickly, while we are at it, we might as well have a look. South Africans off the bench is going to be Bongi Umbanambi and Mtuku Machunu. Gets his opportunity at 17. Franz Malharba. Now, it's an interesting one because for Franz Malharba, he is going up against Matthias, who has given away the most penalties out of any player in the URC. So I have a feeling that scrums near the end of this contest could be absolutely berserk, I think is the best way of describing it. There are going to be a lot of problems that do take place there. Salman Moura at number 19 with Ben Jason Dixon at 20. Grant Williams, Sasha Feinberg, Ngume Zulu, and also Damien Dialindi there as the 23 for Wales. It is Lloyd, Matthias, and Azarati as the front row replacements, although I believe Azarati's in the starting lineup and Thomas will be coming off the bench. Ratty and Martin, the other two forward replacements. Then Gareth Davis, James, and Beetham as the number 23. So as you can pretty much tell, there aren't many notable names there as well for the Welsh, whereas you look at the South African bench, and I would say that this is probably the future, you could say, with Ngume Zulu, with Ben Jason Dixon, with Machunu. These guys are all trying to burst their way onto the Springboks scene, and they're hoping to be there for a long time, and they've all got age in their favour, so they should be able to do pretty decently. We have got there, Gats has started the rebuilding of Wales. Let's hope the learning curve is not too steep. Box are rusty as a unit, but can win comfortably still. Let's say humble, but let's stay humble, says the breakdown. Yeah, like, I would like to think that a lot of people would know at this point, like, I don't want to jinx it or anything along those lines, right? But a lot of people should know that South Africa on paper should win this game easily. So at the same time as, you know, it will be exciting for the South Africans, at the same time, there'll be those little things that they're trying to nitpick and fix in their lineup so that they can get it right up against the Irish. We've got to remember, the Irish and South Africa, they haven't played in South Africa for a long time, yet it still seems to be that Ireland versus South Africa games recently have gone the way of the Irish, and South Africa do not like that. They want to fix that, and this home series is the perfect way of being able to do it. Hey, Hamish, the guy who owns the bookstore here, is from New Zealand, and he loves it here in South Africa because of the sun, and says it's like the Wild West. Says, cool story, bro. And we have got there in the chat, where can I watch this match in Ireland without paying, of course? I want to say it's on RTE, but I could be quite wrong in that regard. Best scrum half in the world, Fuff, says Steve. And we also get there, Fuff the Clerk as a has-been, says Outlaw. And gets, oh no, I read that one, didn't I? And how's that? Good to be online again, says Sean. Welcome in. It's been a little while it's probably been since the World Cup now that I think about it, since we saw you last, Sean. So hopefully you have been keeping well and hope you are excited for yet again another Springboks season. Looking through at what is coming up for the Springboks side, ladies and gentlemen. For anyone who doesn't know, 14 days' time, they are going to be going head-to-head with the Irish in the first of the two-match series that has taken place in South Africa. The week after that, they do play the Irish once again, both actually the same start times. And then the week after, the exact same start time, except they are playing Portugal. Now, it is great that we get to see them playing up against a slightly lower side in Portugal, but I know a lot of people would have much rather than Portugal's name there, seen the Irish name again and have this as a three-match series to really determine who is the victor. Because if this series ends 1-1, I can tell you right now, people will not be happy. They will want to know who the definitive winner of that series is. But then the Springboks will absolutely butcher Portugal in the last game. Instead, looking through at Wales and what they have got coming up. In 13 days' time, they will be taking on the Australians in Australia for their two-match series. They are going to be playing the week after at the exact same time. And then they are actually going to be taking on the Reds, which is a little bit of a different one, a Super Rugby team going head-to-head with the Welsh. I don't know how that works, though, because I believe the Australians... I don't know whether or not the Australian Reds players will be available for that game, depending on, of course, injuries as well as eligibility. So we might see a bit of a different look Reds side in that game up against Wales. And honestly, that may be Wales' best chance of getting themselves a victory this year, because they are still yet to get one. They lost all their games of the Six Nations. Creel never was impressive, says Outlaw. I assume you're talking Jesse Creel, because, of course, David Creel at the moment for the Bulls has been absolutely fantastic throughout this season. The Box will lose against the Bulls, says Outlaw. How's that? Good to be online again. This Welsh side are about to meet a bunch of real outlaws. And I'm glad I have a New Zealand pal in real life now because of talking to fairly often. Keen to see what happens here, bruh. Says, cool story, bro. But looking through at the way that the South Africans set their squad for these matches, I should mention that they have still got themselves more to come in terms of those Bulls players. They will be joining before the Irish series. But looking through, Pepsi Buthelezi, he is not playing in this game. Now, if Kwaka Smith was still injured, I believe Pepsi Buthelezi would have taken on that 6th jersey. Joseph Dweba not playing in this game. Ben Jason Dixon, debut off the bench for that man. Peter Steph the Toy back into that Springbok kit after a successful World Cup final. Eben Etzebeth, he has been a workhorse for a long time. Got himself 115 caps to his name. Nedeling Foucher, the only prop to miss out in this contest. Vincent Koch, Frans Malharba, of course Koch starting, Malharba coming off the bench. First start for Malcolm Marx in an incredibly long time, almost 9 months I believe it is for the Springboks. Bongi Umbanambi, he will be coming off the bench alongside Umtatuku Machunu. Salman Moura also finds himself on the bench for this contest. Franco Mostert of the Honda Heat there at number 5. Oxneshare, Evan Ruiz. Now I mentioned about some stats. We will get to that in a very short moment about Evan Ruiz. And then also Kwaka Smith, Andre Hugo Fenter. Didn't get the opportunity here. Jasper Wiese, he is suspended at the moment, so that is why he will not be playing in this contest. And quickly looking through at the backs, they are in alphabetical order. Damien Dialendi, he will be off the bench. Faf de Klerk starting at number 9 in this contest. Andre Esterhuizen for the Quins. Apalele Fasi, big chance for him at number 15. Has some very impressive numbers throughout the URC season, which we will be looking through very shortly as well. Jordan Hendrickse thrown in the deep end, given that starting 10 jersey for the Springboks. Sasha Feinberg, Ungome Zulu coming off the bench. Ethan Hooker and Juan Horn, 2 men who aren't playing in this game, so you wonder whether or not they do have a spot in that Irish squad when it is announced. Chislin Colby, Jesse Creel, he is starting at 13. Mani Lebok, he is not starting or coming off the bench in this game. They're giving him a bit of a break after that URC quarterfinal. Makazole Mapimpi and Sia Masuku. And then Honre Pollard not available to play in this contest. Morne Vandenberg was, but they decided against giving him the chance. Just the 2 Lions players who are playing in this match, including that man, Edwell van der Merwe, and then Grant Williams, the last man for the Springbok squad. We have got, hello Hamish, hope you are well. Just want to say well done to the Blues. They are my New Zealand team. Just about heartbroken because they didn't give Sia Masuku a run at 10, box by 10. Says Andre there. Forgive me for asking, what's your name again? Last time I watched you was in the Rugby World Cup, so it is Hamish. And yeah, it is quite cool to see some of you guys back from that Rugby World Cup seeing as, it's been 9 months since we've seen each other. The crazy thing is, right, since that Rugby World Cup final, right, a baby has been made and born, which sounds very strange. Not mine, I don't have a child, but in terms of the timeline, a whole person from that World Cup final has developed into a baby that has then come out. That is how long it's been since I've seen some of you guys. I hope you are keeping well. Hopefully you're all staying safe and enjoying the rugby. It's kickoff soon. It is very soon. 35 minutes. It sounds a little while, but we have still got plenty of stats to go through and find. Yeah, Etzebeth as a has-been. I don't know about that. I think he's still in some great form. Evan Etzebeth, you boss bro, always in depth, waiting your killer commentary as the box run riot, says Warren. And also we have got there, did you know Frans Malhama was originally in the starting 15? When he heard that it was Vincent Cox's 50th cap, he requested that Vincent start. How awesome is that? That is extremely awesome. And that's the thing. This box side, they are a group of very close, like some of these guys have played together forever. You look at that front row, Frans Malharba, when Stephen Kitsoff comes back, there's going to be a reunion there. Etzebeth, Peter Steftatoy, there's some great friends amongst this group, and it does show in the way that they play and also the way that they train. Jesse Creel is a useless centre, says Outlaw. It seems like you're just angry at everything at the moment, Outlaw. I'll ask you the question, seeing as you don't like anyone that Rassi has selected. Who is the player in this match that you actually are looking forward to seeing in action? Because I know it's not Creel, it's not Etzebeth, it's not Faf de Klerk. I think you had a few others earlier on as well. Hamish, if I was born in New Zealand, I would have been an All Black. Says Manny M. And Bossing It Bro, always in depth. And also we have got their Outlaw as a has-been troll. No one. Right, so you're Welsh in that case, I guess. Guys are putting the mockers on the South Africans big time with this winning by 50-point talk. Says, cool story, bro. But yeah, I was looking pretty in depth about certain statistics before this match, ladies and gentlemen. I've got pages and pages of them. And something that I found quite interesting was actually looking in depth at the stats of Evan Ruiz, of course, getting the opportunity to play for the Springboks here. He has had limited opportunities in the past, just having the 5 caps at the age of 24. But when you look through some of his stats from the URC, you can certainly understand why that man is in there. He scored 8 tries throughout the URC season. He had 103 successful carries, which is the second highest in the whole URC competition. He bet 49 defenders, which is second equal in the competition. He had the 18th most meters carried with 671. He made 151 tackles, and he also had 14 turnovers won, which was the 6th most in the URC competition. So when you see some of those stats, it does make you understand exactly why they would want Evan Ruiz somewhere in that loose forward trio. Although the stat that I'm a little bit concerned about, and we've mentioned this throughout the URC season as well, is that penalty count. He actually has given away the second most penalties throughout the URC season. He has given away 20 throughout the games. Now, in this game, I don't think it's going to matter too much if the South Africans give away a few extra penalties along the way. But in a game up against the Irish, the last time that we saw those two sides played, it was very close. And kicks were the difference in that match. So you don't really want to be giving away too many penalties. But I do think near the end of the season, his discipline got slightly better. Fun fact, I have a nephew who could qualify to play for New Zealand, Wales or England, as well as the Māori All Blacks. If he was old enough, he is about 10 years too young. Says another mum there, and JC Pretoria's career has been destroyed. He might as well move to Australia and indulge in some league football. Should switch to rugby league. Says Cats and Fussy is useless too. Says Outlaw, and you go box, says Marvin. In the chat as well. Well, speaking of Apalele Fussy, I was looking through at his stats as well for this season, and some of them are pretty impressive too. He's had 16 games, and of those 16 games, he's actually started 15 of them, so getting plenty of minutes throughout this URC season. 5 tries, 80 carries, which is 5th in the competition. 36 defenders beat him, which is 11th equal. He has had the most running meters out of any player in the URC with 1,230. The thing that concerns me a little bit about Apalele Fussy, though, and there's not much that concerns me, because I feel like Rassi sees something in him, and we should, I guess, believe that it is going to go well, but he's made 29 tackles throughout the URC season. Now, of all of the Springboks that have been playing in the URC, he has the lowest tackling percentage. Now, I believe second lowest was actually Sasha Feinberg Ungumezulu. But when you talk about the Springboks and you talk about players who you don't really want to have missing tackles, your fullback's not the guy at the top of the list that you want to be missing the most tackles, because he's only making just over 50% of his tackles in the URC. So that might be somewhere that Wales try and exploit a little bit. The other player who's got a relatively low tackle percentage is actually Edwell van der Merwe. He has made 80% of his tackles throughout this season with 49. So I think they'll target his wing, definitely because he's also on debut. But it's whether or not they can do enough with Rio Dyer, who has beaten plenty of defenders throughout this season, to create those opportunities. Wales 35 box nil, says Outlaw. Game starts at 3 p.m. South African time. It certainly does. And I hope they start Grant Williams and Sia Masuku against the Irish. Just give them a shot. The starting lineup against the Irish, I know they won't disappoint, says Andre. And I honestly did think that there was a chance that they could go with the Sharks pairing in this game, just because of the amount of Sharks players that are in this lineup. I thought that might have been might have been where you'd try them if you were going to. The Green Clowns lost against Ireland, says Outlaw, although they also did win the World Cup. So that is something that Ireland can't even say that they have gotten close to, as they are normally knocked out by the semi-finals. We have got Box 50 Wales Smile from Marvin. And also we have got that Hamish serious question. Have you or your channel ever blocked anyone before? A few in the past. Like nothing like from people just casually like trolling. But like we've had people like give us bomb threats and whatnot, which wasn't great. So like we've had to block some people because of that. But overall, like the community's pretty decent that we've found, which I'm pretty happy about, because you see some YouTube chats and they are just all over the place. But this one, I like it. I feel like everyone's relatively respectful, maybe with the exception of Outlaw. But talking through a few of those players for the Springboks, of course, we've seen some keys that might be exploited by the Welsh. Now, talking about this Welsh side, their tackling percentages are extremely strong, in particular Ben Carter for this Welsh team. He's playing number 4 in this game. He's 23 years of age, 6'6", and he's only got 11 caps for the Welsh. Plays for the Dragons, but he has made 84 tackles throughout the URC season, and he has made 97% of them. And that was one of the highest percentages I believe I found for any player in this match. The only thing that concerns me about him is the fact that he's got a red card. Now, we talk about discipline. The last thing that the Welsh want is to be in a man disadvantage throughout this contest. Another player who's been doing extremely well for the Welsh in terms of those tackling numbers is Matthew Screech. He has made 124 tackles, and he's made 94% of them. It's going to be close. The Welsh has nothing to lose. They're dangerous, says Ben. And our Hammy forgot to ask, sorry mate, says Pants Blaze. I'm doing very well. I'm excited for this game, anticipating a really hard-hitting affair. I just hope that both of these sides get out of this game injury-free and that there's no suspensions that need to be dealt with, because there might be. Unfortunately, the team with red and green in their flag will win, says Novmum there. And win for Wales, says Outlaw. And where can I watch this game? DSTV is probably your best bet if you are in South Africa. Now, South Africa, of course, for this game, they've got a few players returning from Japan, as well as the, I guess, slight exception to the rule, which is Andre Esterhuizen returning from the Harlequins. But in this lineup, ladies and gentlemen, they've got Damien Dialende. He's returning from the Saitama Wild Knights. Then, in terms of the starting lineup, they have got Jesse Creel from the Canaan Eagles. He is going to be there, raring to go. Faf de Klerk of that Canaan Eagles side. Toyota Verblitz for Peter Steftotoy. You've got the Blue Revs for Kwaka Smith, and then the Honda Heat for Franco Moster and Kabuto Spears for Malcolm Marks. So, that's a fair number coming back from Japan, and these guys won't be used to the South African style of rugby just because they haven't played it for a little while. But the benefit is they're up against an inexperienced Welsh side who, out of all the players in their lineup, like Aaron Wainwright's got 48. I think that's almost the most. Oh no, Gareth Davis off the bench has a 76, and Liam Williams has got a fair few as well, but there's really no numbers here for the Welsh that are too intimidating in terms of that amount of experience that they have got for themselves throughout this season. Just having fun with Bok fans, says Outlaw, and win for Wales, and South Africa are going to win twice today, says Denzel. I've always liked Wales and their supporters and commentators, says Brian. And that's the thing, like, Wales are one of those sides that I think a lot of people want to see do well. Like, from what I've heard, Wales, it's not so much their second team, like in terms of like people like their team and then they don't mind Wales, but it seems to be that I haven't heard many people who say they dislike Wales as a side. You know, like they seem relatively respectful out there on the field. They always sing their national anthem with pride and, you know, their supporters always get behind the side as well. So, you know, even though this game's at Twickenham, I think it's going to be a pretty even split. I think we're going to see South Africans and Welsh both in the stands. The national anthems, boy, have I missed hearing that South African and Welsh national anthem. The last time I heard the South African one was probably for that Rugby World Cup, maybe even a bit sooner with a game of cricket or something like that. But it's going to be a pretty awesome atmosphere because we've got to remember as well, because Twickenham does not often get games for the South Africans, that is when the crowd normally turn up and they are the loudest, when they know that this might be their only opportunity for a wee while to get to see their side in action. Damien is a big boy, almost broke Saxton's shoulder versus Ireland, and Kwaka marks formidable men. Says Hillary, and yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of turnovers won throughout this game for the South Africans. Now, I mentioned about the fact that Evan Royce throughout the season has got 14 turnovers won. Of course, Kwaka Smith throughout that Rugby World Cup was one of the leading men when it came to the turnovers won stat. And just looking through, in terms of a couple other notable stats for, I mean, there's actually so many that we could look at for both of these sides. The fact that there are quite a few debuts. Now, just to list all the debutants, ladies and gentlemen, for anyone who doesn't know, for the South Africans, it will be Jordan Hendricks' first game in a Springbok jersey. Edward van der Merwe also making his debut, so two Lions men getting the chance. Then off the bench, it is Ben Jason Dixon and also Sasha Ngumezulu as the other debutant for the Springboks. Now, I should mention Sasha Ngumezulu has actually had some game time for South Africa A, which is actually the same with some of these other guys who are in there. When it's kickoff, it is in 23 minutes time, so we are not too far away from the start of this matchup. In the Welsh starting lineup, they have got Ellis Bevan, their starting 9. He is on debut off the bench. They have got the 19, James Ratty, and then also Jacob Beetham is the other man who is on a debut, alongside Eddie James as the other man who is on debut. Peter Steph Toy's first game as captain, I think, says Hanger Rap, and great, says Dominic. And I have a Welsh jersey, good luck to them. They proud and joy with voice. So let's see, Twickenham is home ground for the Boks. My gut feeling is that the Welsh may just get lucky, take the win in the dire minutes, says Herman Kutsia. And that is a big call, but I guess the one benefit we've got in some regards for Wales is no one knows what to expect from this Welsh side because no one's seen them in action. You know, this is such a new side. You look at someone like Mackenzie Martin off the bench, 3 caps. Harry O'Connor, 1 cap. 2 caps for Kemsley Mathias. 2 for Ewan Lloyd. 5 caps for Cameron Winnett. That is only from the Six Nations, and he looks like he's come a long way throughout this season. He's actually had the 13th most metres carried throughout the URC with 702. But once again, the tackling stats of the fullbacks are actually pretty poor on both sides. Winnett only making 77% of his tackles, and Apalele Fasi only making 63% of his tackles. But another stat, before we jump back into looking at the lineups, ladies and gentlemen, that I found quite interesting was the amount of Welsh players who have had multiple starts throughout the season but have not converted it into tries. Of course, we talk all the time about Rieko Ioane for the Blues, how he has gone over 400 days without scoring a try for the Blues. We look at someone like Cameron Winnett for the Cardiff Blues. He's had 15 games with 14 starts, but he's only scored the 2 tries. Owen Watkin for the Ospreys, 15 games, 14 starts, 1 try. And then someone else who I found as well, which I found quite interesting, was Eddie James. He's had 13 games, 11 starts. The youngster at 22, he has not scored a single try throughout this URC season. It'd be good if it goes down to the wire even as a neutral, says Novmum. What do you think the score will be at full time? I honestly do see the Springboks winning this game by around 30, maybe even higher if they really get going early. Feinberg is pure nepotism. I've seen this geezer's performances in the URC, absolutely futile handling skills, says Katzenel. Springboks will not lose, says Hangarat, and second test as captain also versus Wales, says Elma. Rassi will go crazy if the Springboks lose. He will, but at the same time, I feel like this game very much so is a learning experience. And you know, like, no one wants to lose. And they talked about this game being a great one to try and boost them up in the world rankings and get a really good grasp on that number one spot as we head into that Irish series that is just around the corner. Of course, they are not the only international sides that are going to be playing. We also get to see New Zealand versus England. We get to see Australia versus Wales, Argentina versus France, all taking place in the very near future, ladies and gents. And of course, we're going to be here on the channel covering all of those games as well. Let's go to 1,000 cats for the reserves. Says Outlaw and Box 42, Wales 15. And what is your prediction? Will it be South Africa by a cricket score? I mean, South Africa recently winning themselves a game in the Cricket World Cup up against the English, so that was a big bonus for them. Perhaps the Springboks here can do the same. Box will murder Portugal. Hamish, have you gotten any backlash for not adding Rico into the All Black squad? I have, yes. A little bit. Not as much as I thought I'd get. I actually had a few people agreeing with not putting him in, which was, I guess, a pleasant surprise. We're actually probably going to do a video tomorrow where we do an adjusted side after watching that final, because there are actually players from that final that I would now probably take out and actually replace with different players. What is the split for the Bomb Squad? It is 5-3. Just a normal split in this contest for the Springboks, as well as Wales. They are also going with that 5-3. Grant Williams, Sasha Feinberg, Ngume Zulu, and also Damien De Lindy as the back replacements. Umbanambe, Machunu, Malharba, Morat, Ben Jason Dixon as the forwards. Then for Wales, they've got a few debutants off the bench. Eddie James, Beetham, also James Ratty, all making their debut. But the replacements, in terms of that front row, ladies and gentlemen, for the South Africans, they have got 138 caps, 138 caps of experience, or something along those lines. I haven't completely done the maths. 138, I believe it is, though. For the Welsh, they've got 5 caps experience. That can make a big difference, definitely, because, like I mentioned, Kemsley Matthias, who is playing 17 for the Welsh in this game, he has given away the most penalties throughout the URC with 23. Now, just to put into perspective, the man who's given away the second most penalties throughout the game of the URC is in the Springboks lineup, and that is actually Ivan Ruiz with 20 penalties conceded. Now, a lot of Matthias' penalties come from the scrum. Ivan Ruiz's do not. Is it a Welsh B team? I'd say yes, but at the same time, I don't know how close to an A side they can actually get at the moment for Wales with the amount of injuries and unavailable players that they have got. Rassie using 7-1 method. Rassie is trying to make players, I hope, Cameron Honeycomb make an impressive game against Glasgow Warriors. And to be honest, if he plays anything like he has throughout the rest of the URC season, like, he's going to be fine. And he will get, hopefully, quite a few minutes for the Springboks in the future. South Africa win, says Mahubeli there. And potentially the Boks and Wales could score some cracking tries tonight. Looking forward to seeing the Boks and Wales play, says John. And also France versus Argentina. Can't wait, says Katzenau. Will Rico be added back into your squad tomorrow? Well, you'll have to wait and see whether or not Godden is not the English language it's got. We're not Americans, says Bruce. That's all right. I mean, I say in it. And fun fact, in it is not a real word. But we say it anyway because we just don't give a... Never mind, sorry. 5-2 correction. No, it's not quite. It's 5-3. They've got an extra player off the bench, unless they're missing someone that I haven't heard about. But nah, they're going to be all right, and they have got that strong split off the bench in this contest. But we are getting closer to kickoff, ladies and gentlemen. Only 15 minutes away. Some of us are Americans. Let me know if you need some help understanding rugby, says Bill Whitlingham. Now, of course, in this match, it's going to be taking place at Twickenham, so no home advantage. Speaking of no home advantage, All Blacks playing Fiji in America a little bit later on. Box will win, says Bruce. And there as well, not all, y'all, says Angarat. Some of us are Americans, says Gus. And there's that. Yeah, we've actually got quite a few Americans who do watch the channel, which is awesome to see. We got guys in time zones all around the world, which is fantastic. Seeing the Blues lift the trophy felt so weird. So I'm used to seeing the Crusaders lift it. And yeah, hopefully the Crusaders are back in the future. You know, they didn't have the season that they were after, it is fair to say. But, you know, that happens. Sometimes it just doesn't go right for a side. And the Crusaders were the perfect example of that. The Sharks are another example. When we talk about the URC, everyone, when you look throughout their lineup, they should do well. And to be honest, a lot of Sharks players in the Springboks lineup. So they should do well, but whether or not they put it together on paper or compared to paper onto the field can be a different story. Means good health and heaven's blessings, says James. So right back at you. Of course, that got in comment wasn't directed at you, Hamish. Go the box, says Bruce. And also we have got there, and the Chat Crusaders are my team awesome. Hamish, you made a good selection with Reese, says Manny M. But yeah, there's a lot of players, not just in terms of that All Black squad that is being announced on Monday, but these two sides, they aren't confirmed in terms of who they're going to have in their July internationals. The Springboks, I expect to see a few Bulls players make their way in. And in fact, while we're at it, we might as well talk about it a little bit, ladies and gents. Who are the Bulls players that you would select in your Springbok squad? For myself, I mean, Kurtley Arendse, the fact that that man is back is phenomenal for the Bulls as well as for the Springboks, as long as, of course, he is 100% match fit. When does the NPC start? Sorry to bug you. I believe it is late July, early August is when that is going to be starting up, James. I think. Somewhere around there. I don't know the exact date that it's taken place, though, unfortunately. We can get that information for you some stage. So, Cameron Honeycomb, I agree. He's got to be in there, doesn't he? He's a great, fantastic player for the Bulls, the way that he has played throughout the season. But then you wonder, would they go with him as well as Pepsi Buthelezi, as well as Evan Royce? Who would miss out? I think that Pepsi Buthelezi would probably be the man that does have to give way. Definitely if they are bringing back Sia Khaleesi into the side at some point in the future. But, you know, unpopular opinion. I want to see your guys' opinions on it, though. Are you bringing Willie LaRue back into the Springboks? I honestly think yes. Now, not because he talks to the ref every 5 seconds. That gets very annoying. But for his play, you know, and that experience at the back. At the moment, they've got Juan Horn and they've also got Apalele Fasi as their two-man at fullback. And I feel like having someone like a Willie LaRue might just help those young guys develop a little bit more. So it might not be a bad idea. And just having his stability at the back as well. He's actually had a pretty decent season, Willie LaRue. He's had some games that he's been a bit dodgy, but the URC, I think we've seen a lot of players have a great run of form and then just every once in a while they get it slightly wrong. What about Johan? I wish the Bulls number 10. Johan Hurson? Interesting. I don't know if they'll, like, age is probably the only thing that they'll look at there and worry a little bit, seeing as we're in that situation of, like, you've got Sia Masuku, who's a lot younger. You've got Sasha Feinberg, Ngume Zulu. You've got Mani Lebok, who are all a lot younger. And how's it, Hamish, says Peter Lowe. Because we've got to remember, until Damian Valimza comes back as well, like, you still got that bit of a gap at the back, don't you? We have got there, hey, Hamish, we need to come into Cape Town to get some live rugby content. Currently, there are many rugby YouTubers this side having a ball, says Herman. And there as well, I mean, I don't think my budget extends to South Africa, to be honest. My budget hardly extends to down the road for groceries, but we're good. You know, we'll eventually get to South Africa, hopefully, in the future. I just don't think it will be within the next maybe 3 or so years. I think it will be a lot later. Will he beat Leinster by himself? Definitely good enough, says Jimbo. Go the box, says Bianca there. And there are a lot of Americans here, not a lot of Kiwis up at 12:48 a.m, says Robert. And Bros Papia, Bulls number 9. He could be a decent option as well. Like, that's the thing. They've got some great players. Budget is great in South Africa, says Derek in there as well. Yeah, it's the flight get in there that's probably the expensive part, isn't it? I think it's about $2,000 to get a flight from New Zealand to South Africa. But we are only moments away from the coverage actually starting up here in New Zealand, ladies and gents. So we will be able to see exactly how the field is shaping up, how the players are looking heading into this contest. And I think a lot of people are excited for this game because at the end of the day, it's the first time we're going to see the South Africans in action since that Rugby World Cup. Don't be like that, Hamish, says Derek. What do you mean? I just said the price of a flight. It is expensive getting from New Zealand to South Africa. They have made it that way probably since about 2020. The price went up about 300%. South Africa needs a decent kicker. We don't cover our eyes when they kick at the post, says Ben. And your top 3 international fullbacks, Hamish, says Luke. Ooh, that's a hard one. Off current form, or are we basing it off the World Cup? Because probably different answers would be given there. But he would have hooked you up with some Stormers high performance centre, says Herman there. And it's only 10.50 in Australia. I'm sure a few Kiwis in Australia are still up and find a special, says Derek. I mean, I like your optimism, but I think you're missing the point of once you're there in South Africa, you've got to find a few things to get you on your feet, such as a job. Also you got to find accommodation, got to find a way of travelling. Current form, mate. Oh, see, current form's interesting because there's a few. Oh, this stands isn't completely full at Twickenham. I thought it would have been a sellout for this game, but there are a few factors I think for fullbacks. Looking through at the likes of Super Rugby, could you say someone like a Ruben Love? In terms of, I wouldn't call him top 3 in the world, but he was definitely top 3 in Super Rugby with the way that he was playing. Kinghorn definitely in the pot for best fullback. I agree. I think he's been doing extremely well I think he's actually at Toulouse at the moment, isn't he? I know he was at Edinburgh, but did he end up at Toulouse in the end? He was at Ramos's team anyway. Fly via Dubai. Those prices are usually better, says Hangarat. And you're always welcome, says Ben, but they are just showing the crowd as they are piling in for this contest, which is only 9 minutes away, ladies and gentlemen. When we look through at the starting lineups and reserves for these two sides, there is plenty of talent that will be taken to the field. For the South Africans, Oxney Share, Malcolm Marks and Vincent Koch as the front row, Eben Etzebeth and Franco Moster in the locking duo. Then Quacha Smith, Peter Steftatoy and Evan Ruiz gets the big opportunity there. I mentioned about how Evan Ruiz, in terms of some of the stats throughout this season, he has been impressive, whether that's meters carried, whether that's tackles made, but he also has given away the second most amount of penalties throughout the URC competition. Needs to make sure his discipline is on point for this matchup. Faf de Klerk at 9 with Jordan Hendrickse as the starting number 10 on debut for this matchup. So big opportunity for that man. Andre Esterhuizen and Jesse Creel, they will be the midfield combination. Makazole Mapimpi and Edwald van der Merwe is there as the number 14. He is also on debut for this game. And then Apa Lelefasi and number 15 to close out the starting Springbok side. For the Welsh, little bit of a lack of experience across the board for the Welsh in this game. Gareth Thomas, Dewey Lake and Kieran Azarati, I believe, is going to be starting at 3 rather than Thomas, who will be coming off the bench. Screech and Carter is the locking duo with Tame Plumtree, Botham, and also Aaron Wainwright there as the number 8. But we see there Vincent Koch running out onto the field. This is his 50th game. Been informed earlier on that Franz Malharba made way for Vincent Koch to start this game once he did find out that it was going to be his 50th. But Bevan, this man has got anything but 50. He's got 0 in his Welsh career. He is going to be starting on debut as the number 9, Sam Costello at 10 with Grady and Watkin in the midfield alongside Rio Dyer, Liam Williams and Cameron Winnett will be the number 15, just like he was throughout the whole of the Six Nations. But looking in the chat, we have got there, not to sound selfish, but a Bok Winnett and my lady. So it's dinner, score for Batman. Don't F up, boys, says Warren. And when are the Olympics? They are taking place in late July. That one is happening. He's a European champion with Toulouse, and despite the short distance, there aren't many red shirts at Twickers, says Mr. Fantastic AJ. I'll be honest, there aren't as many South African kits as well in the crowd as I expected to see for this match. I was sure this would be a sellout, and the fact that it's not makes me think more and more that maybe they should have had Fiji versus Barbarians on a different day rather than a double header. Like, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of people in attendance, but I didn't think this would be sellout for this contest. But we are seeing both sides lining up. Rassi Erasmus about to put his headset on. I feel like he'd be an entertaining streamer, Rassi Erasmus. Like, if he was doing what we're doing, or if he was doing like a random IRL live stream, I feel like everyone would love watching that man, seeing what he gets up to on a daily basis. But I believe that Wales are going to be the first side with their national anthem, seeing as they are actually slightly considered the away side in this scenario. There was no hype for the game beyond the normal channels. Forgot the game was on, says Mr. Fantastic AJ. I'll be honest, like, this game I don't think was advertised as well as it could have been. And it's the same with Fiji versus Barbarians. We've had no coverage talking about this game here in New Zealand, with the exception of, like, checking out the social media channels. Like, we've had nothing advertised on TV. We've had nothing advertised in the news for this game. It just seems like it's one of those ones that have been thrown together under the radar, but I feel like if a lot more people knew about it, there would be a lot of excitement. I look at the Welsh team and I only recognise 2 names. One is Williams, the other one is more famous for cricket, Botham, says Akaris there, and Fiji play better than Wales, says Outlaw. And there as well, but the national anthems are about to be sung, ladies and gentlemen, which means we are getting extremely close to the start of this matchup, the first game for these two sides of their July international warm-ups, and it will be the only game that they've got of that. South Africa, this is their first game since the Rugby World Cup, and then for Wales, their first game since a wooden spoon in the Six Nations. Only the All Blacks can sell out any stadium, says Rugby Union fan. That's not necessarily true. We've seen South Africa sell out stadiums as well. We've seen England sell out stadiums. Plumtree Sharks trainer, I think it's his son, isn't it? Tame Plumtree. I know he's moved around a lot. And they were talking about it earlier on, about all the countries that their man has visited and lived in. And it is quite an impressive resume. People are tired of scrums, says Gatsanel. Although this is under the new laws, I trust the ref has checked the South Africa team studs, says Shane Wigmore. And Hamish, sink a pint of beer. I mean, I haven't got beer, but I got a bottle of water, which we can sink our teeth into. A few people dressing up for this game, supporting their sides. Clearly lots of Swifties in the UK. Everyone's gone to watch Taylor Swift concert at Wembley. I didn't even know that was on. That shows how much of a Swiftie I am, doesn't it? Box score within 4 minutes, 30-point gap, says Warren there. But we have heard the Welsh national anthem. We are about to hear the South African national anthem now, ladies and gentlemen. Like I mentioned, this will be the first time since the World Cup that a lot of people have heard this anthem being sung. Ireland will fill any stadium. Never a ticket for any of our games, says Jimbo and I. Everyone enjoy the game watching through VPN on SC4 Wales. Just join up and go to live section. Commentary is Welsh, which captures the atmosphere very well. How many milliliters does that bottle hold? It says 750. But I think I could push it to like 780 because they never fill it right up, do they? G. Eddie is so washed as a coach, says Xavier Brown. I bet you've been waiting like 7 months to say that, haven't you, Xavier? And to be fair, you've now got the perfect time to say it. And it's beer time here in England, and happy to be back. Kai Hamish, says Juju there. Welcome in. South African national anthem being sung. These boys are ready to go for their first match. I got a bit of nervousness for this game, to be honest. They say water like an English man, says Haynes. Mr. the point, Hamish, they don't sell out every game like the ABs do. Although the All Blacks, they don't sell out every game, do they? And Bulls says Glasgow clubs add more attention than international games, says Nico, which is exactly why, just as a little bit of an annoyance that I have, why did they put Fiji versus Barbarians on at the exact same time as that URC final? They could have put it on a different day and still had the same, if not better, coverage in terms of the amount of people watching it. I do 750 milliliters, and we have a race. I can finish the quickest time, says Pads Ablaze. And there as well, but the big man, Eben Smith, but they're showing there Malcolm Marks, his first game for the Springboks in an extremely long time, and all I can say is do not blink when that man enters a breakdown, because he will be able to turn that ball over as quickly as you can say. I was going to say that, but that's not a word. The G is hard. Is it Juju? Or is it Gugu? Maybe. And great curtain raiser for the Bulls Glasgow game, says Photograph. Hopefully I said that correctly. And no one Todd Eddie Jones says Wash says Cats are now, but they are just showing the lineups once again. Doesn't look like any late changes for either of these sides, which is fantastic news. The last thing that we want to see is an injury for either of these sides heading into this contest. But I will mention anyone who is new to the channel, of course, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. It is greatly appreciated, you all being here. So it is Gugu, I believe. Only 44 turned out for England versus Japan in a 60k stadium, says Rugby Union fan. Although I'd take 44,000, wouldn't you? Like that's a lot of people. I think that's about the same numbers as Eden Park had for the final of Super Rugby, wasn't it? At about that 45,000. Looking through at this lineup here for the Welsh, a lot of young guys who are wanting to make a name for themselves, wanting to confirm their spot in the series as they head towards Australia. And this one is going to be the perfect opportunity to prove it up against the defending world champions. Few players returning from Japan for the South Africans. They will be ready to rumble. They will be raring to go, and they will be fired up for this matchup. Warren Gatlin still looking for a win since that Six Nations campaign did not go the way that they did plan, but Makazole Mapimpi, he's got the chalk all over his hands, all over his arms as well. That's actually the first time I've seen a player do that. Maybe I haven't looked close enough at the players, but he has put pretty much that chalk stuff all up his arms to try and limit the amount of knock-ons that the man would have. Are you allowed to put double-sided tape on your arms? Probably not, but I'm just thinking in terms of things that would stick the ball to you so that you can't drop it. That would be about as good as it gets. Bok says LB, and there as well they're showing Liam Williams, one of the more experienced heads out there on the field. Aaron Wainwright, he has 48 caps. Chris Busby, will be in charge of this one. The Irish referee, Peter Steph looking dangerous. The fact that he's looking dangerous already and he hasn't even played a minute yet tells you how much of an aura that man has about him. But the Springboks, they'll be kicking off from right to left, in the season now underway for the defending champs and the wooden spoon in Wales. But nicely claimed there by Mason Grady. They are just inside of their 22 at the moment here, Wales. They have been told to use it and they will be looking to get this one downfield and earn some extra metres from the kick. I think Malcolm Marks just tackled Peter Steph out of the breakdown. Sees my chat not working. Says Stefan. I can see that one though. Stefan. And Bulls are seen as a club internationally, but it doesn't matter. International games should be more publicly. Says Nico there, but nicely run forward by Apalele Fasi. Springboks now in position after that kick downfield from the Welsh. Evan Ruiz, his first carry in a Springbok kit in quite some time. Now getting back up to his feet there was Andre Esterhazen. Faf de Klerk, sniping run ball on the inside to Franco Mostert. The two men linking. What's Faf done there? He's just taken out a man on the side of the breakdown from the Welsh side. Of course, with the new TMO rules, they can go back and check that. But I don't think they're going to. Andre Esterhazen goes off to Peter Steph de Toy. Great low tackle made by Dewey Lake. Now Faf de Klerk looking both ways, decides to go to the right. Almost knocked on by Franco Mostert. But he's managed to hang on to it. For the Welsh, they have to try and stop this first big attack from the South Africans. If they are unable to do so, that is when we will see the confidence start to build, and that is the penalty now going the way of South Africa. Now they have to make a decision. Do they want to take on the 2 points here, or do you want to go for the 7? Sorry, 3 points or 7, I should say. Looks like Jordan Hendrickse will be in charge of lining up this kick, so he will have the first opportunity at points in the day. Should be a win for the Boks, but Wales can surprise, says Brian. That's going to be against Aaron Wainwright, one of the more experienced players. Wasn't able to roll away. Vincent Koch had him trapped in there as well, so he was not going anywhere, Aaron Wainwright. We have got there about Wales. Sucks that the new Wales team has been thrown in the deep end with the best rugby team in the world. Says Gugu, yeah, it's very tough because, you know, you come off a Six Nations campaign, which was poor. You know, you don't win a game in that series, and then you go out and you have to face the defending world champions. Like, it's never going to be easy. But, I mean, it might help them. Oh, Hendrickse misses. Sorry, I didn't realise Marnie Lebok put on the 10 jersey for today. Sorry, that was a really mean joke, and Marnie Lebok is still having nightmares about that quarterfinal for the Stormers, so we won't go into depth about his kicking accuracy. Well, Hendrickse missing that one, making the score 0-0 still between these two sides. Nasbota is back, playing for the Welsh this time, says Marine Dinke there, but 22 dropout for the Welsh. Down to the halfway line, here comes Evan Ruiz. Had the 8th most running metres throughout the URC season. How did he miss that one? Yeah, it wasn't the hardest kick of the day, unfortunately for him. Now nicely in behind from Eben Etzebeth. Goes away to Apalele Fasi, ball on the outside. Huacha Smith now finds Kriel. He's got Makazole Mapimpi with him. As soon as that man puts the ball kick on, you know it's going to be magic. And he puts it on the inside to Kriel. And they score the try there, the Springboks. And Jesse Kriel, the man who was able to run it. And they were passing and running that quickly. I couldn't even keep up with what was happening on the field there. But Jesse Kriel, pace for days. Makazole Mapimpi, like I said, he hasn't had the best season for the Sharks, but as soon as you put him in the green and gold, that man seems to step up to the next level. A brilliant try for the Boks, says Brian there. And yeah, just open space. About a 4-on-1 there for Liam Williams. He will not have been happy with the way that that one's set up. Cameron went out wide to cover Makazole Mapimpi. And then all he had to do was put the ball on the inside to Jesse Kriel. And Wales just got caught out big time there. Fantastic try from the Springboks, and they get on the board for the first time in this match. The Boks should have used the game to blood new Boks, says 123 MS. I can understand a little bit of both ways though, because of course you want to blood new players, but at the same time you do need to find the chemistry, seeing as your next game is up against the Irish, and that is an important two-match series that you do not want to go into a game without guys who have had game time under their belt. Here's my friend who scored, says Marcel. Where was the Welsh defence? That was way too easy. Yeah, it was about, like I mentioned, a 3 or 4 on 1 out wide, and then they were just outpaced by the Springboks backline. Don't forget to like and subscribe, says Junaid. That's a name that we haven't seen in a while. Hope you've been keeping well, Junaid. Jesse Creel scores the first try of the match for the Springboks, ladies and gentlemen. And now it's a rolling maul for the Springboks inside of their 22. In fact, what we're going to do, we're going to go old school here, and we're going to put the Springboks try scorers down the bottom, because I feel like the list is going to be maybe a little bit longer than we anticipated, but we'll go like this, and we'll go like that. He's a bit lonely at the moment, Krill, but hopefully he finds some friends very soon. And I'll tell you what, and he might do. That was almost a line break there for Jordan Hendrickse. Bit over 20 defenders in the URC season, that man, and that one's gone out on the full from the South Africans. Faf de Klerk getting his kick wrong. Tell you what, I'm just going to have to very quickly change this, because I don't think I can get away with having that any other colour than the green of the South Africans rather than having it blue. Called it 4 minutes now, bring on the 30-point gap, Bok to win. Wales in position at the moment now. Mason Grady, the big 6'5" inside centre. Got a lot of talent, and he's only 22 years of age. I have a very important question. How has Jordan Hendrickse missed his first international kick? Because it didn't go through the post. That is the penalty to Wales now, 6 minutes into the contest. And that will be against Franco Mostert. It looks like Costello will be lining up the posts here. Get their first points of the day for Wales. Okay, I think the Irish referee just having a bit of a chat there with one of the Welsh players. Box 2, big-headed. Even Ireland beat them in the World Cup, topping their group in Gain and Dublin. They really do have an arrogant attitude. I wish they are not that good, says Smith. I mean, yes, Ireland did beat them, and yes, some of their fans are confident, but they did win the World Cup. So, like, they, in a way, if any team was to be confident and like, arrogant in some regards, it should be the world champions, shouldn't it? I get really annoyed when people bash Lebok about kicking to the post. His kicking has improved and the rest of his game is superb. Yeah, his attacking game is some of the best that you see from any fly half in the world at the moment. That one is good from Sam Costello, and that is now going to make the score 7 points to 3. So the first points of the day for the Welsh. They will need many more. We have got their Faf past it. Says Jimbo, and good kick, says Brian. And who scored the try? It was Jesse Creel did score in the 4th minute. Currently, still another 33 minutes left in this first half. I think we're going to see a relatively high-scoring game between these two sides, ladies and gentlemen. Hi, Hamish. Been here in a while. I haven't been here in a while. I missed your wits, says Annie Baby. Well, welcome back. Hope you are keeping well. Like I said, a lot of you guys we haven't seen since the World Cup. And, you know, that is almost strange to say because, like I said before the game started, that's the equivalent of a baby being made and born in that time since we've seniors. Which is a weird analogy, but it seemed to work because that's 9 months, isn't it? Now kicked high, up a Lele Farsi under the high ball, leading with the foot, almost a Liam Williams. He's done very well to pull out of that Farsi, and he's still managed to catch the ball as well. Hamish, you seem very excited for Liam Williams versus Mapimpi. Well, it's going to be an interesting one because it's two veterans. And at the same time, like 1-0 Makazole Mapimpi at the moment, the way that it sits is Williams was just caught off his wing. And then that wasn't completely his fault. He had no teammates with him. Quacker Smith just kicked a cross kick. Yes, he has. It's gone out on the full. I know that man has a sevens background, but he probably hasn't tried it in a little while. Lebok versus Richie. Who do you have kicking for winning a World Cup? Are you saying Lebok versus Richie McCaw is the kicker? How old is Lebok? I still think he's the future. He's very young. I think he's like 24, 25, Marty Lebok. I don't think he's much older than me. He might even be younger than me. He's 26, 15th of July, 1997, so he's 2 days later than Malcolm Marx in terms of birthdays. The only reason I know that is because This is going to sound weird, but they sandwich my mum. My mum's birthday is on the 14th. Mark's is on the 13th. Leboc's on the 15th. You know? Another person with a birthday on the 14th of July is actually SpongeBob SquarePants. So there you go. But now scrum feet. Big push there for the Boks, and they have got themselves the penalty advantage and the penalty awarded. At scrum time, massive one from Vincent Koch. Faf de Klerk's complaining about something. I wouldn't complain too much. He got the penalty. They sandwiched my mum. That's not a quote that we're going to be using often. When is your birthday, Amy? Not in July. I can tell you that. But Jordan Hendrickson now, they have already decided against going for 3-pointers. They have decided instead that they need to kick this one for the corner and look to be relatively aggressive. Mum sandwich, says James. And 29th of July is 71 years, says Ben Kennedy there. And also we got the laughing face there from Dominique, and Quacha is the new fly half. And bro, you're cracking me up, baby calls. And now a sandwich, says Warren. Malcolm Marks, this will be his first line-out throw since returning for the Springboks. And it's over the top. It's an overthrow, and it's claimed by Wales. There you go. That is something I didn't expect to see. Are they playing now? They certainly are. They're currently 10 minutes into this contest, and Wales are down 7 points to 3. The world champions retained their cup last year. I stopped this and different attitude to the best of the best. And I'm older than you, says Pads Ablaze. Now, it's going to be kicked high from Bevan, the youngster. On debut, Upper Lelefasi again under the high ball. Looking extremely safe today. Faf de Klerk with the pick and go. Here comes Evan Roos. They're not going to stop him. He is too quick, too strong. He's just down 1 metre from the line though. Round the side, Mostert looks to reach out. He is over the try line. And the referee wants to have a look at it. It's held up, but it's going to be a yellow card for Wales. That is the last thing that they want here, ladies and gentlemen. Like the way you put on the South African action when you mention the Springbok names, at least you can roll. Says Quinton there. Right, 11 is offside. That is going to be Rio Dyer, who is going to the bin. He can't quite believe it. He's a bit confused. I'm off, says Rio Dyer. Right, Springboks asking for a penalty try. Referee says no. There were other players around. But yeah, Rio Dyer can't quite believe it. He didn't realise he was offside. Looks like they're 5 metres out. And they will go for the scrum here now for the South Africans. I see Irish missing 2 great players. It would be hard if they had been in Dublin. 8 would win, says Smith. Yeah, I do see Jameson Gibson Park. Hamstring, is it? No. It might be actually ACL or something along those lines. But he is going to be missing from the Irish tour of South Africa, which is a massive hit for him. And Ola Hamish, it's been a while, missed you guys, says La Chica. Yeah, welcome in. Hope you are keeping well. Big run from Evan Roos. I can't believe that they managed to stop him from where he was. Yeah, Dyer was about 2 metres offside there, hoping to slow it down a bit. And the Boks 2 kicks out on the full and overthrow Rusty, says Red. Well, at the end of the day, some of these guys haven't played together for about 9 months. And also Malcolm Marks just hasn't played for about 9 months in general. I believe there were talks of whether or not he'd even be able to come back. What a break. Embarrassing to let a Huacha do that to your defence, says Jimbo. My cat is watching you. Well, hello, Novmum's cat. Which one? I see you got a profile picture with both of them. Is it this one or this one? Because neither of them are paying me any attention in that photo, of course. Do Wales stand a chance to win the series against Australia? I think it's going to be a pretty tough job. But, you know, they'll try their best. That's the main thing, isn't it? French at 14 July, Bastille Day. Yellow was a bit harsh, says Brian. In there as well, but currently 5 metres out from the line. Faf de Klerk feeding the scrum in here. And they're slowly marching here, the Bok. They're being told to use it. Faf de Klerk digging around for it. The penalty does go the way of the Springboks. And Faf de Klerk takes the quick tap, gives it away to Peter Steftatoi, who will only be 3 metres out from the try line now. Faf de Klerk gives away to Malcolm Marks. Dragged down backwards. Back across again. Now to Andre Esterhuizen. This just seems like it's on the verge of the Springboks getting another one here. Jesse Krill tackled hard by Owen Watkin, and another penalty against the Welsh. Stay on your feet this time, Tane Basham. the one who has been penalised for that one. And like they've just said, if they play like this, they will be down to 13 men in the very near future. How do you feel about Australia's squad? I think it's about as good as it could have got. Like, there were a few players who missed out that some people wanted to see there, but like, you can never select everyone, unfortunately, no matter how much people like to think you can. And Wales are going to get a hiding, says Manny M. But like we mentioned, when you look through at the experience, when you look through at the form, they should. You know, like, they shouldn't get anywhere near the Springboks in this game. And I know that that sounds a bit, I guess, rough on the Welsh, but you know, it's kind of true at the moment, and that is going to be a penalty try now for the South Africans. This is more than likely going to be another man going to the bin. This is Boss Power Speed, Endless Pressure, another yellow card for the Welsh. This is going to get very ugly very soon, ladies and gentlemen. I don't see anything but domination coming from here on out. Wales don't stand a chance. What do you think, Kurtley Beale in the squad? I mean, he's played pretty decently for the Western Force throughout this season, so, you know, he's probably one of the pick of the options in terms of the backs. But yeah, just getting short there. Kwagga Smith illegally dragged down. Who got the yellow card? I believe this time it was, I think it was Kieran Azarati. Oh no, it's actually Aaron Wainwright who they have given the yellow card to. So they have lost two of their more experienced players out there on the field at the moment. And this is just not going to look good for the Welsh. They're trying their best to slow down the Springbok momentum. What does the yellow mean? Means 10 minutes off the field now for the Welsh. Now it's going to be kicked off again by Wales. Of course, no kick required in that case because of the penalty try. And there's a knock-on from the Springboks inside of their 22. I believe it was Malcolm Marks there did drop that one. And lose a player for 10 minutes. And we've got a gifted sub from Robert. Thank you very much, mate. Greatly appreciated for your support there. We'll go like that and like that as well. South Africa getting into gear now. And how do you feel about Corey Toole deciding to go to the Olympics instead of the Wallabies? I mean, I think it's fair enough. At the end of the day, he is a Sevens guy. He came from the Sevens circuit. So I think that it's not so much that he's like in any way disrespecting the Wallabies. He's just saying this is the side that got me to where I am. So I might as well help them out if they need it, if that makes sense. Like he's a very great Sevens player. We've seen it multiple times, how strong that man can be. Yellow and red, card make orange. DC Razor going down as one of the greatest AB's coaches. I think he has to have a game under his belt first before we start throwing around GOAT status. Definitely when he's up against the likes of a Rassie Erasmus, who has World Cups in the cabinet, as opposed to Super Rugby titles. But now 22 metres out from the line at the moment. Here for the Welsh, they are playing with 13. They thought they were turning up to play Rugby League. And that is Malcolm Marks on the ball, but I don't think 6 rolled away quick enough. That is against Kwagga Smith, so that'll be another penalty to Wales out in front of the post. I ordered one of Oxford's scrums. Don't wear salad shirts. One of the best materials I've ever worn. Really top quality stuff. Says Gary. Arrest's been very technical with his calls. I hope the Welsh don't make us have a training run, says LB. There's going to be a Blues Chiefs score. Looks like Wales are going to take on the 3 points again here. A link for live game, please. Depends on whereabouts you are. Unfortunately, a lot of the options to watch this game are paid subscriptions. Unless you're in Wales or have a VPN to set yourself to Wales, you can actually watch this game for free on S4C, I believe it is called. Respectfully pronounced Kwagga, not Kwagwa. The Q as a K. The Hanks give gas. So Kwagga rather than Gagwa. I'll try my best to say Kwagga. Hopefully. But now lining up this kick, Sam Costello and Kwagga is playing for Wales. Says Ben. Costello. Oh, he's missed it. Out in front, unfortunately. So both kickers having the early misses in this one. And Kwagga says Flavian, who got the first yellow and why. So it was Rio Dyer who did end up with the first yellow card. It was for him being offside only a couple metres out from the line, stopping a probable try. Second yellow card was stopping another probable try that turned into a penalty try that was against Aaron Wainwright. 13 versus 15 game ruined already, says Rugby Union fan. Going to be kicked off long there. I do Hamish is a Kiwi, not Afrikaans. Just be kind of respectful, says Peter Lowe. And that's a big shot coming in on the halfway line. Tame Basham was told that it was a tackle. In fact, it was Tame Plumtree that time. Hamish is a Kiwi, forgive him. And the Welsh discipline makes me feel so vile, says Katzenell. Now put him behind Costello. Plays it high, across field to Macha Zolima-Pimpy, although it's slapped back by Liam Williams. Now knocked on by Jesse Krill. And they will go back. You're saying Quaka fine. Don't let the pronunciation bother you, says Christopher DeVette. And come on, the Springboks, says Darian. And there as well, I should mention anyone who is new to the channel. Of course, be sure to hit that subscribe button. It is greatly appreciated you all being here for this matchup. We are also covering the URC final, which is just around the corner. That is the one between the Bulls and Glasgow Warriors. Alongside that, we have got the All Blacks squad announcement on Monday. I believe the Springboks are not too far away from announcing their squad for the Irish internationals. Of course, we've already seen Ireland actually announce their team more recently. No James Gibson Park, which is a big hit for this Irish side. And Bulls should win that easily, no, says Gary. And K at the beginning is fine. For the you need to get the in your throat. Imagine an angry animal, says Brent Fish. So, quacha? Or is that too much? Let's see if Mark's magic. Hey, man, got to take me out before you spend the while or whole night with me, says LB. Now going for the scrum here. Going to be passed across to the left-hand side. Sam Costello goes for the little chip in behind, and Grady is chasing, but it's overbounced him. And now Edward Fundermerva taken down. No, that's great, nailed it, says Brent Fish. Or Brett Fish, I should say. They're now out wide. Jesse Krill clearing the lines. Gets it down towards the halfway line. Sam Costello. Across there, he sent Makazoli-Mapimpi the wrong way. That was a forward pass from the Welsh right in front of the referee as well. Hamish the Angry Hamster. Last one was perfect. Angry Animal works well, says Christopher the Vet. Looks like Rio Dyer now making his way back out onto the field. The damage has maybe already been a little bit done, though, for this Welsh side. They are 21 minutes in, 11 points down, which isn't the end of the world, but they have to stop any more South African tries coming, or else they will be in a huge amount of danger of having a runaway here. Sam Costello, great sell of the dummy to go around. Makazoli-Mapimpi acted like he was going to be kicking it in behind, and then, yeah, that one's forward by about a metre. Nice, obvious one straight in front of the ref. It's like a bit of an injury here for Kieran Azarati. Now, the last thing that you want in this game is any sort of injury. I've mentioned about it multiple times, ladies and gentlemen. If you end up with an injury, you're in trouble. Hey, yeah, man, got to be spending 4 hours with you tonight, sticking around for the URC, says LB, and going to predict that Islander pouring tired for South Africa tests, says Jimbo. And it's like Welsh Lamb versus South African Lion, says Manny M. I mean, the term taking the lambs to slaughter comes to mind here, but that is only because of such a lack of experience from this Welsh side. And to be honest, like, this game's probably gone exactly how a lot of people expected it to, in terms of the early penalties against Wales for ill discipline that then leads to brilliant opportunities for the Springboks to be able to score. And I think there's going to be plenty more options. Where did Wales finish in the Six Nations? It's not great, you know? I would say the last thing you want in this game is an outbreak of diarrhea, to be honest, says Brett Fish. I guess that's a fair assessment. However, the Eben will become the greatest international test player of all time, even better than Alwyn Jones and Whitelock. The greatest lock of all time, or just test player in general? Because you did list two other locks. But now Jordan Hendricks, a big shot, interception pass thrown. Liam Williams gets his offload up. Great tackling from Edward Fundermerva. 2 try-saving tackles in a row there. And he forces the knock-on. Fantastic work from the Welsh winger. Now, the thing is, I talked about Edward Fundermerva before this match. He has the second lowest tackle percentage in this backline. Yeah, just the knock-on there, though, for the youngster Ellis Bevan, but only tackling at 80% normally. And that is just a no-look pass from Jordan Hendricks. He felt the pressure and Liam Williams was ready for it, but the tackle made by Edward Fundermerva to then get straight back up and tackle again That is brilliant work from the young winger. That sucks. I kind of like him. They were pretty damn good at a stage, says Peter. Evan will become the biggest duty player in history. That's gone to Marcos Kremer or Thomas Lavanini already. I don't think that one's disputed at the moment in terms of current players who are in the running. I love your vibe, by the way. Really bringing the match to life, says Brett Fish. Thank you very much. And we are going to be covering all of these South African games. We can't see the full scoreboard. Can't you? This one. It's 24 minutes gone, if that's the question. That is a big push there from the South Africans. Wide cut-out pass from Faf de Klerk, and now we're going to get to see Edward van der Merwe in action. He's broken down the wing, kicks it in behind, and Jesse Krill is chasing after it. Cameron Winnett, though, takes it nicely, has a lot of space to work with, looking for a 50-22, but Apalele Fassi is at the back to be able to claim that one. Now Fassi, 40 metres out from his line. Great low tackle made from Dewey Lake. Jordan Hendrickse, did he mess up there, says Stefan. Unfortunately, he was the one who threw the interception pass after being put under pressure by the Welsh defence. Perhaps they will target him. At the end of the day, he is on debut. So, he'll be one of the players I think that they really look to try and make uncomfortable. That is knocked on from Makazole Mapimpi. Referee almost said play on, but it has been called by the assistant. We have got the dirtiest players, the Argentina lock and the headgear. All that lock from Australia. So you're talking either the Argentine lock is Thomas Lavanini. The lock with headgear from Australia, I assume you're talking Darcy Swain, but I could be wrong there. I'm not too sure who else that would be at the moment in terms of current locks. I'm stuck at work today, but yeah, save my day legend, says Kevin. No worries at all. And we are here for the URC final as well. That is going to be kicking off in 2.5 hours' time. The matchup between the Bulls and the Glasgow Warriors, so be sure to tune in for that one as well. It is greatly appreciated you all being here for this matchup. But Edward van der Merwe, in the few touches that he has touched the ball, he has actually looked thoroughly impressive. And same with, the likes of an Apalele Fassi. He's been good under the high ball. Hasn't missed too many tackles. Or Richie McCaw, of course. Says Gary. Okay, I'm in the house, says Stretch Fletcher. Now the penalty will go the way. In fact, no, sorry. The free kick is the way of the Welsh. Now, because of the new rules, you are not allowed to take a scrum reset. So that means that Wales either have to tap this ball or they are going to go for the up and under. And it does look like they're going for the up and under. We have there the South African flags from Ayanda there. Nicely taken again by Apalele Fassi, who's just been brilliant under the high ball so far, although Wales haven't been putting a lot of pressure on him, which I think is making it a little bit easier for that man. Now it's kicked high from Jordan Hendrickse, looking for some distance on it. Cam Winnett waits for it patiently, passes on the outside to Rio Dyer. The Bok defence looking well set. All the chalk for nothing, I'm convinced it's okay, says Katsanel. Ball is still there now. Oh, that's going to be the penalty. Slapping the ball out of the halfback's hands. I think that was against Eben Etzebeth there. They mentioned the Boks arrogance yet. They have been nothing but respectful of the Welsh team in the build-up, says Nicholas Woodward. Woodward. It's a tongue twister your last name. But yeah, at the end of the day, like I said, if any side had the right to be a little bit confident in the way that their side plays and thinking they're going to win, it's a side that have proven that they are yet again world champions, and like you said, throughout all the build-up, they've said that, they expect to win this game up against Wales, but they said that this Welsh side, they're a young side and they've got a long way to go, but, they wish them all the best. Currently 35 metres out from line, Wales are in possession. Their last game up against the Italians, in which they were defeated. That was the final game of the Six Nations where they went 0-5 in their matches. They want to change that here in this warm-up contest. Costello in behind, Dyer with the quick hands. Overrunning that one was Owen Watkin, but Cam Winnett manages to clean it up. Now Makazole Mapimpi going for the counter ruck, and Quaha Smith. Knock on there from Mostert. And ABs and Fiji are popular with neutrals, says 123MS, and they are actually going to be playing each other in the USA, which is a pretty interesting one. Hopefully it is an awesome game when it does take place. We will be covering it, of course, on the channel as well. Hey, Hammy, another season of fun, says Mumbo Jumbo Kiwi. It is great to see the Springboks back in action. Same with Wales. Like, the last time that we called a Welsh game was that Six Nations. Now, getting to see them in action again here before their series up against the Australians. But we are already 28 minutes into this game, ladies and gents. I don't want it to go by this quickly, because I know that it's going to be 2 weeks till we get to see these two sides in action again. Fussy again under the high ball. He has hardly missed anything today from the back. And All Blacks' biggest brand in the world, rugby. I think South Africa's 4th biggest. Says, cool story, bro. Yeah, although the Boks, of course, winning those World Cups has boosted them in terms of the popularity around the world. It was actually mentioned earlier on as well. I think something that does hurt the Springboks ever since they went to Nike in terms of their kits. Their kits have not been really easily available. And I feel like if they were able to have more kits produced and more people buying their kit, that would actually help them grow as like the neutral population take a liking to them, if that makes sense. If I see subscribe go up and lights go up, I'll get 5 free memberships at halftime. Says, right, you heard the man. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. Also, be sure to hit that like button. Dewey Lake now sitting 40 metres out. England going to win the series in New Zealand. I mean, their performance up against Japan was certainly impressive. So, who knows? Maybe they can go all right. We don't actually know what the All Black squad will look like. That will be announced on Monday. Oxney getting a spanking there from one of the forwards. I think that is Matthew Screech. I was saying that Oxney was in the wrong place. It's difficult to get a Springbok jersey. Exactly right. It's the same with the Argentine kit, and that is actually also Nike. I think that Apalele Fassi has kicked that player in the face. Unfortunately, I mentioned earlier on about Apalele Fassi having his leg up when he jumps for the ball. I think that one he might have gone a little bit too far out in front, and he may have done the Geordie Barrett from the Rugby Championship a couple years ago. Now, that actually resulted in a red card. I don't think this one will be a red. I don't even think it will be a yellow, but certainly something to be a little bit more careful about for Apalele Fassi when he does lead with that boot. Yeah, out extended foot to the side. Up in there, no matter where you're from in South Africa Rugby. South Africa Rugby is in our blood. Hence why we're quite good at it. Haters gonna hate, says Night Owl. Guys, where's Cheslin Colby? So he was injured and then he wasn't injured, but then now he isn't playing, I think. I don't actually know the full extent, but there were issues of getting him in and out of the training camp, so they brought in Guamedi briefly, but then I think Guamedi got taken back out. Right, this might be a yellow card for Apalele Fassi, ladies and gentlemen. They want to see it again. Tried to get some of the t-shirts and bucket hats. They have the Springboks, or they have on the Springbok site. Have to order to England, then get it shipped to New Zealand. Not worth it, says LB. So they're showing here. He wins the ball cleanly, but then sticks his foot up into the face. Okay, Adam Leal is not correct. They've just said there about how he's outstretched his foot. I don't think this is any more than a yellow card. It's dangerous contact. Okay, it's going to go for an off-field review, ladies and gentlemen. This will be very interesting to see what they rule this. But like I mentioned, Geordie Barrett actually got a red card for this up against the Australians in Perth, I believe it was, a couple years ago in the Rugby Championship. So Adam Leal on the sideline said that he didn't see it as foul play because he felt like Apalele Fassi's leg wasn't at a dangerous action, but he did outstretch it into the face of Dane Plumtree, so that gets him in a little bit of trouble, but it's a yellow card for Apalele Fassi, and it's a shame because after such a strong start to this matchup, he's not really going to want that on the resume for this contest. Some players get a lengthy ban for boot to the face, says LB. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see what they do rule in terms of whether or not that is going to be a yellow card remaining as a yellow or whether that is upgraded to a red. Okay, they've just mentioned if he kicked him in the face rather than in the shoulder, it probably would have been a red. This might be a red if it decided to be dangerous. Says Brian, now that is a loose throw from the Welsh, but they managed to take the ball back and Dewey Lake scores for Wales. Well, that's come out of nowhere. 30 minutes in, the Welsh have taken that yellow card and said, we're going to score off it. I have to write another player down, don't I? In fact, I have to write 2 more players down. In fact, it's lagging, so I don't think I will, because I don't want to jinx it. But Etzebeth managed to get the line-out steal, but it wasn't enough to actually keep the ball on the side. Oh, that's come out of nowhere, says Brett Fish there. And come on the box, don't switch off and let them in with easy tries like that. I literally told you at the start of the game that the Welsh always keep it close with us, never write them off, says LB. Stop laughing, we might still win. I just realised I never read out Fran Smith's message, did I? Springbok Rugby, beer, kuro, biltong chips, and Hamish commentating equals perfect Saturday afternoon. Thank you very much, Franz. I don't know why my brain didn't read out. I think that was right when the yellow... Was it when the yellow card happened, or did I just completely forget to read it? Either way, thank you very much. Stop laughing, but we might still win, says Annie. Now the kick is good from Sam Costello. What just happened, says Lilia. So yeah, yellow card to Upper Lelefasi then leads to try for Wales. And they have got the conversion. So the score now 14 points to 10. Fasi shouldn't have been selected. I think others are better. Although so far in this game, with the exception of that yellow card, he's actually been very strong. Like, he's taken about 7 high balls. Hang on, we've got the decision. Okay, it's going to remain as a yellow card. So Upper Lelefasi will be back, which is great news for Upper Lelefasi. He gives the thumbs up. The score is 14-10. No. And big line-out dysfunction, says Jimbo. Yeah, something that we're not used to seeing is a Malcolm Marx line-out not working at 100%, or at least somewhere nearby. Kicked out on the full by Jordan Hendrickse. So now they've got the option of scrum or a line-out here. It's still only 30 minutes in. Wales still have a lot of time to try hold the box out. If that was the All Blacks, it would have been red. I mean, the logic that they used there was by the law, though. They said that it wasn't a completely dangerous one because he caught him on the shoulder rather than the head. Hendrickse are overrated. And tell you what, Wales are trying to expose him here, aren't they? They're going for him every chance that they can get. It's like when they got that interception from Liam Williams after Hendrickse rough pass. 14 players for the Bok may actually make it a bit more of a level playing field, says Christopher DeVette, our rugby union fan. Just another toxic New Zealand fan, says Papa Rumpel. We're not all bad, Papa Rumpel. I'm from New Zealand, although depending on whether you like me or not may depend on whether you decide if I fall into that category. Rolling ball here for Wales. I believe they've got the penalty advantage. Yes, they do. And they will now get themselves the penalty. Have you watched Parsi play for the Sharks? So he so deserves to be in the Springbok squad, says Lilia. I mean, looking through at some of his stats, like his seasonal stats don't lie. He's had the most running meters out of any player in the URC. I mentioned about his tackling. That is one thing that I think was a bit of a concern. Only tackling at 67 or so % throughout the URC season. But with the exception of his tackling stats, like everything else for Upper Lelefasi is extremely impressive. Putting on Hendrick's first Springbok match, one that I want to forget. He hasn't started well. He's missed a kick at the post. He's kicked it out on the full a couple times. But at the end of the day, those could just be nerves. That's a knock on from Evan Russ. Had his hand out. It's going to be the penalty against the Springboks for a deliberate knockdown. Now, I don't think he did it on purpose. I think it was just the case of he didn't expect the pass to go straight into his hand. But yeah, Upper Lelefasi, he's had 16 games for the Sharks and he started 15 of them. He scored 5 tries. He's had 80 carries, successful carries that is, so the 5th most in the URC. He's defeated 36 defenders, so that puts him 11th equal. He has the most running meters with 1,230. He's made 29 tackles with 63%, which was the bit of the concern. He's also given away 8 penalties throughout the season, which now I guess could become 9 if you count that one just before. The game has been fluid with the new rules for box standards, says Katzenel. You see, if Cheslin Colby was here, we would have 30, and they would have 10 if Sia Khaleesi was here and Cheslin Colby. And now lining up the kick again for Sam Costello. This will bring Wales within 1 point, ladies and gentlemen, although we do know that the Springboks have a bit of a skill of winning games by 1 point, so they won't mind the scoreline too much at all. But 14 points to 13. Rassi does not look happy at the moment. That man's belly is hanging out. while it's celebrating the Welsh. Get him back into it. And we have got their 1 point in it. England going to beat New Zealand. Says Papa Rumpel in there as well. And also, there was a good game between England and Japan. Is Eddie Jones' Japan team any good? They'll take a bit of time to get good. I think, like, they've got the fundamentals, but they just struggled up against England once the pace did ramp up and once England started finding their rhythm. In that game, I've got no nails left already. Still got another half to go, says Mr. Fantastic AJ. Our Rumpel talk is cheap. You know what's not cheap? A World Cup trophy, which they currently have because they've won the last 2. Now, it's going to be kicked high by the youngster Alice Bevan, one of the many debuts we are seeing in this match. Jordan Hendricks under the high ball does take it. That will give that man a bit of confidence. Everything we do out there, we do deliberately. Paul O'Connell. Greetings from Cape Town, says Buffalo. Welcome in. Now, nice run forward from Quagga Smith. Now, across again. Better Steph the Toy. Man on the outside is Machas Olema Pimpy, who tries to sit down Mason Grady. Now, de Klerk goes across the Oxney. Hendricks, oh, he had a gap, and he's just thrown the ball away. He did the hard work of almost going through and getting the line break, but he ended up sadly throwing that ball away afterwards. So they're going back for the Welsh scrum. Rugby Union fan, 4 out of 8. Rugby World Cup wins isn't cheap talk. Isn't it nonsense when it comes considering I'm not a New Zealand or South Africa fan, or Ireland or UK? Says Bill, and Springboks are going to get a harsh talking to from Russie at halftime. My pimpy with the boomfar power and pace. I busted my ankle mountain climbing a few weeks ago. With all the sitting down, my belly is hanging out a bit, says Brian. Nobody matches your commentary, plus some comments are too classic to miss, says Warren. Yeah, it is greatly appreciated you guys all popping in. Like I mentioned, it is a middle of the night game here in New Zealand, but we were not going to be missing it, as it's pretty awesome to see these games and these two sides back in action for the first time in 2024 for the Boks, and the first time since the Six Nations for... Oh, that's gone down in the front row. Okay, they're saying that height is the issue at the moment. Hi, I'm listening from the UK, says MCEJ. Welcome in. And the ref hasn't blown for handball once, says James Evans. After 40 years on this planet, I see South Africa fans still ain't learning. We always have World Cup hangover. And I would follow the double Irish choke that happened last week. Vincent Cock too strong for that Welsh prop. Well, that's the thing. Like, the Welsh prop, I mentioned about it as well. The stats off the bench. You've got a man who's going to be coming off the bench going up against Frans Malherbe. And the Welsh player, I'll just quickly find his name, Kemsley Matthias. He has given away the most penalties in the URC, a majority of those from scrum. That is going to be a scrum penalty, though, going the way of the Welsh. Jordan Hendricks got all his positive vibe from all. And Sunday after the side was announced, sounds to me as though he's having a very average game. I mean, he is at the moment, but at the same time, like, that is always a possibility for such a young player as well. We've got to remember, like, this is a dream for a lot of these guys. Edward van der Merwe, he hasn't touched the ball that much, but the times that he's touched the ball, he's made it count. He's also made a couple crucial tackles. But, you know, you're in that situation of some players in their first ever game look like they've been doing it the whole time. And then other times it takes a few more games. You know, I could, not off the top of my head because I suck at remembering certain players, but, you know, there have been many players who have had average debuts who have then gone on to be absolutely fantastic players. So I wouldn't hold it against Jordan Hendricks here. But now on the halfway line at the moment for the Welsh, Sam Costello kicks it high. Liam Williams chasing after this one. Hendricks are going up for it, but Liams wins the ball, and then Winnett has knocked it forward, says the referee. Before the game, South Africans were saying they could win with 13 players and by 50 points, says Trajan. Yeah, the game's not over yet. We don't know how the second half's going to go. The Welsh are still in it at the moment, but if they end up with any more yellow cards, I think it could be a little bit dangerous for them. AB's under the razor, going to be unbeatable, says Peter Lowe. A ref a bit dodgy there, says Jimbo. And they went back bad decision, says Brian. Well, that went back bad decision, says Brian. Yeah, it depends on the referee, doesn't it? Because sometimes we've seen those ruled as knock-ons. Other times we've seen those ruled as play-ons. I believe in South Africa, says Dash. And there as well. But ladies and gentlemen, anyone who is new, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Of course, we are going to be back for the URC final that is taking place between the Bulls, where we will get to see Kurtley Arnse in action. And they are going head-to-head with the Glasgow Warriors. That game taking place at Loftus. And it is only an hour and, or in fact, no, sorry, 2 hours and 15 minutes away from starting. Looks like Azarati will make his way from the field. Harry O'Connor is going to be making his way on. I think that that's some sort of leg injury for Azarati. They're already a little bit light when it comes to their props at the moment for the Welsh, so I don't think they want too many more injuries from this game in particular. Faf de Klerk about to feed the ball in here for the South African scrum. They will look to win the penalty with the clock just passing the 40-minute mark, excluding the World Cup. Who is the better team in 2023, France or Ireland? I mean, if you're looking at the Six Nations, Ireland did win that Six Nations competition, so you would have to argue maybe you go with the Irish there. Hendricks, again, a little bit hesitant with his passing, but Makazole Mapimpi was there ready to take it. That was a knock-on. In fact, we're going back for an original knock-on due to that knock-on, we're going back for a penalty, I should say. We got a bit tongue-tied there, but we got there in the end. But now, Springboks standing up under pressure. That is Harry O'Connor, who's only just made his way onto the field. The Welsh line out is not bad, says John. Yeah, out of the two, it's actually been the more successful, believe it or not, throughout this game, which is insane to say. But yeah, Malcolm Marks hasn't really got it right at line-out time so far. That one's going into touch on the halfway line. Still another opportunity for the South Africans to get themselves a try here before the end of the first half. Malcolm Marks having a conversation there with Faf de Klerk. Well, struggling in the scrum though. Need more protein, South Africa says Yako. And come to South Africa, come try our biltong, and then you'll know why South Africa can play rugby, go Bok. Well, we actually did a video where we tried biltong, but I think we got some rough stuff because it wasn't actually that nice, but we then gave it to some South Africans and they also said it wasn't that nice. So I feel like we got a bad batch of the biltong. South Africans are toying with Wales. I mean, if they're toying with them, they're making it very believable, aren't they? Because that's a mistake from Faf de Klerk as well. Has gone backwards, Liam Williams, in a wrestling match with Makazole Mapimpi there. Now de Klerk back across to Ebenet Sebeth. Hasn't had a huge amount of carries throughout this first half. Now de Klerk, he'll kick this one into touch and South Africa will accept a 1-point lead heading into the second 40 minutes. I'll be honest, from a Welsh perspective, they'll be pretty happy with how that one's gone. Rassie Erasmus making his way down to have a chat. And we have got there, Wales may have targeted this game. South Africa mind on Ireland, perhaps. Halftime Wales will be quite pleased. I agree. I feel like this is probably nowhere near the scoreline that a lot of people were anticipating for this first half. Excellent defence, Wales, says Jimbo. And there's well, it's beef jerky, says Marcel. Currently showing us an ad for Shrek. Interesting. The Rays ABs versus Russie Box is what we need, says Peter Lowe. What was the decision on Fussy? We went to the ad break, says Johan. So pretty much Apalele Fussy, he's been taking it under the high ball beautifully all day. That time though, there was actually, in fact we'll talk about it first, there was an earlier occasion where he went up for it and Liam Williams was also about to challenge and Apalele Fussy slightly stuck his foot out but then brought it back. So of course that is just play on. But then the next one, Tane Plumtree was at the front and Apalele Fussy extended his foot, hit him here with his boot, so then ended up with the yellow card. For that one, what a feather in the cap of the young side against the defending champs from South Africa, says Anton there. And also we have got their box making too many mistakes. And we got the gifted memberships there from Robert as well. Thank you very much, mate. Greatly appreciated for your support on the stream. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting second half, that is for sure. And at this contest, the Springboks, I feel like in terms of what they can do better in this game, one massive adjustment I would say that does need to be made is probably just relaxing a little bit. They are slightly panicked around the side of the breakdown, it would seem. I think that is also coming a little bit from Hendricks though. No offense against the youngster, but it does seem like with him taking a little bit longer to make that next pass that there's a bit of a scramble around the side of the breakdown. But looking at some of the stats, possession is 51%. in favour of South Africa, 54% in the territory department in favour of the Springboks as well. Seeing 234 metres gained by South Africa compared to the 107 metres gained by the Welsh. 4 defenders beaten for South Africa. Actually, more defenders beaten by Wales with 5. And then in terms of those lower numbers that we have also got available, tackles made 49 by Wales, only missing the 4. And then 36 tackles made by the Springboks. They have missed the 5. We got another gifted membership that time from Brian. Thank you very much. What South Africa need most today is a Bulls win. And we are buying chicken and sausages. May the Springboks make mince of the Wales, says Dion. And Robert, thanks for the membership, says Gus. And what a first half. Well, says Birdie V, as well as Liam Williams has played well. Love to see him score, says Mr. Fantastic AJ. And we sorely need the likes of Grant Williams and Kane Moody. I think he is injured. Williams is coming off the bench. Moody is injured at the moment. He had a finger injury in one of the recent games for the Bulls. Kurtley Ardense, actually another player who they thought wouldn't be back for the Bulls by the end of the season, but he's actually playing in the final now. How much my feet are cold? Well, you should put some socks on. Cool story, bro. We need replacements, says Ben. South Africa's depth is crazy. They could field 3 good test teams, says John. And we actually talked about it a little while ago, myself and I think it was Rugby Itch in the end. And we talked about the fact that why don't they have a South Africa A side? You know, a New Zealand XV is a thing. Every once in a while they play. Wales are $7 underdogs as well, I should mention, ladies and gentlemen, for anyone who is curious. But why don't they have a South Africa A side that does take on the likes of Portugal? You know, that could have been the matchup instead of Portugal playing the Springboks. Portugal, Romania, you know, maybe even a couple other African nations. Play Kenya, play Namibia. Give those guys a bit of game time. And I feel like it would massively benefit not just the South Africans because they'll have more game time, of course, for those guys on the verge, but also it would just benefit rugby in general for Africa as a whole. As per my first comment, my gut still tells me that Wales can still upset the apple cart. And thanks, Hamish. What will we do without you, says Cool Story Bro? I assume you guys will be all right without me jabbering on for 4 hours. Well, actually, it's more than 4 hours, isn't it? Over the weekend, we're probably going to be doing about 9 hours today of talking. So hopefully you guys aren't sick of my voice just yet. Hamish, do you think Wales have played well or Springboks underperformed? Honest answer, I think that the Springboks have been a little bit underperforming in this game. Wales have had some good moments, but I still think that they haven't really played their best half of rugby either. You know, they had those 2 early yellow cards. They've made a lot of errors. Their scrum has been shaky. But the Springboks, you know, when they had that first attacking chance at Jesse Creel, they just looked like it was going to be a long day at the office. But then from there, you know, it's kind of slowed down a little bit for them, unfortunately. And morning, Kiwi lads. And we have also got there the language sandwich who said hello from Germany. Welcome in. Hope you are doing extremely well. I agree. Africa certainly needs more game time, says Butterfly. Just came from Guru's channel now. Same score there, 14 points to 13. And depth is one thing, having the quality and experience is another. Wales are tough. I will not give you light of day to the Springboks, says Ben. And also we have got their end of the chat. Depth is one thing. I know I read that one, didn't I? And Wales is playing next. What country are they to the Springboks? Oh, sorry, what country is that in English? I believe that is Australia. I know that they have got Australia in 2 weeks' time, so I'm not sure if that is the same. My exact feeling, we have to play good rugby if we want to win. Spain. Could be Spain, maybe a misspell or different language, I guess. My feeling exactly. And like and subscribe, see you later, says a cool story, bro. But in terms of standout performance throughout this first half, there's been a few guys who have thoroughly stepped up. Lineout success, though, I will mention for South Africa, losing more lineouts than they are used to when Malcolm Marx is on the field. Ruck success, though, they've had 100% of their rucks won, 34 from 34. But yeah, standout players in this first half. For the South Africans, I think that we've seen some great work coming from, it sounds weird to say, but Apalele Fasi. I mean, other than that yellow card, he was great under the high ball. Evan Ruiz has been really strong in terms of the way he's been attacking the defensive line. And then Edward van der Merwe, he hasn't really done anything wrong, but he did save a try earlier on with 2 brilliant last-ditch tackles. The rain always falls on the Sabine. And also we got there, the Blues played awesome rugby versus the Chiefs, says Blues Nick. Oh, sorry, that was actually Birdie V And yeah, they just pretty much took the Blues completely out of that game. And it was a lot more one-sided than we wanted to see because of that result, right? No Super Rugby quarter, semi, or final was split by less than 7 points. 11 points. So that kind of tells you that there were a lot of mismatches that happened, unfortunately, throughout that competition. Wales for the win, says Sleeve Bloomer. Have you watched Chasing the Sun? South Africa was quite on edge. You can feel it within the team too. This emanates in their game today, but boy, the debut boys need to bring it too, says Butterfly. Yeah, someone who's possibly underperformed a little bit would be Jordan Hendrickse. He hasn't really found his feet in that 10 jersey as of yet. I'm wondering how early they will go with Sasha Ngome Zulu to bring him out onto the field. Andre Esterhuizen, I think he's looked all right. He hasn't really done too much wrong, and he is going to be in the position of maybe being replaced by Damien De Lindy throughout the second half. Of course, it's about winning this game, but it's also about giving some of those guys who haven't had a huge amount of game time minutes. Don't speak Welsh, but that should be Spain, says Gus. And there as well, Salim here from Saudi Arabia. Thanks for always delivering the message, says Salim. Thank you very much for being here, mate. It is greatly appreciated. World Cup should be tier or 2-tier, to be fair, says Peter Lowe. Perhaps South Africa do not have the depth of squad I gave them credit for because Wales are truly woeful, says Akaris. Yeah, although I feel like there's still time, isn't there? Like, there will be that adjustment period, like I mentioned, in terms of finding your chemistry and kind of getting it to work well. A moment. We will go like this. We will go like that as well. There we go. And don't speak Welsh, but that should be Spain. But second half, of course, just around the corner. In terms of Welsh players who have stepped up throughout this game, I mean, Liam Williams, he's looked relatively handy. Grady's been running the ball hard. And number 12. And then, I mean, Costello's had some good moments outside of the fact that he did miss that first kick, but we can't hold that completely against him, as Jordan Hendrickse also missed his first kick of the day. England demolished Japan. Hammy, this game's so close, says Spider Mech. New players need some game time, says Werner. And yeah, it does make you wonder, you know, there's two sides of it, right? Because these guys aren't playing the best at the moment. And you're looking at some of the experienced guys who are having slightly shaky games. But would you rather they have a shaky game up against Wales in a warm-up game for the Irish series, or them have their shaky game in that first match up against the Irish? You know, there's the likes of, for instance, Kwaka Smith here. He's given away maybe 2 or 3 penalties throughout that first half. Would you rather him do it in this game? Because they could have gone with Pepsi Buthelezi as the number 6 to give him some game time. But would you rather Kwaka Smith giving away penalties in this game or giving them away in that Irish game where 3-pointers could be so crucial in the overall scheme of things? The World Cup needs to represent every continent, don't you think? Says Katzenel. Which continent doesn't it represent at the moment other than Antarctica? We have Asian team, we have African team, North American, South American, although the only reason there wasn't a North American side in was because they didn't qualify, but they had opportunities too. Other than that, I think every other continent is covered, isn't it? And one thing you know about the All Blacks is that if they were in the same position as the Box were 30 minutes ago, they would have hammered this one down. It would have been game over by now. Says Sonny Sky can't catch the game anywhere in the UK at the moment. I wish there was a way to watch SuperSport here. If you are available with a VPN, Melissa, that was a weird way of wording it. It sounded like I was trying to, never mind. If you have a VPN, is what I meant to say, you can actually set yourself to Wales and then watch it on S4C, which is like the Welsh option. And it might just be in the UK in general, possibly. Oh, they grade you out of watching it, unfortunately. Do you have a VPN? This is the best match, says Moses. And also we have got there is a lot of discrimination against Antarctica. Many Penguins would like to play international rugby. Says Ryan, Wales versus Spain is a playoff match for the WXV2 women's rugby. Says Dylan. If you're not good enough to play with the big boys in the World Cup, you shouldn't be in it, plain and simple. There can only be one world champs. And we need West Indies in the mix, says RJJ. And USA should put money into the second tier set of comps that will help them in Canada at least, but also Pacifica and South America, says Gus. And there as well, you could a VPN to Australia and you stand free 7-day trial. That is true. And some VPNs actually give you a free trial as well. So that could be a possibility. Although I would definitely recommend waiting until you are ready for the Irish series. Like, you want to make sure you're doing your VPN buying then so that you have better options. Maybe you're too funny, never mind. Says Alilia. Yeah, I almost dug myself a hole, didn't I? I didn't mean to. But 2 hours away from the URC final, the Bulls taking on the Glasgow Warriors, ladies and gents. We will be covering that one on the channel as well. So if you are new, of course, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. It is greatly appreciated, you guys all being here for this contest, as well as the many more to come for the South Africans. It's going to be a lot of fun being able to cover all of the games on the channel. And mate, it should be like the Soccer World Cup. There should be default slots for every continent. Says Cats. Now, I mean, America's kind of counts as both, though. So if Canada and USA weren't good enough, I feel like, that's on them. They lost their qualifying games. It's no different to, at the moment, South Africa are trying to get themselves their spot in the Olympics because they missed out on the qualifying because Kenya took them down. Like, there's a chance that sometimes you won't see certain nations in things, but they had their chances. If they had won one more game or if they had got one more conversion over, it would have been the Canadians going through. I'm going with South Africa to straighten up and score 4 more tries. There's a live stream on YouTube that hasn't been taken down, DirecTV. Says Fluffy, and there as well. And also we got there, I prefer moaning about the rugby here and then watch the highlights later, says RJJ. And in the chat as well, and it is greatly appreciated, of course. A lot of you guys regulars on the channel, which is fantastic, and we're going to have plenty more happening in the very near future. Like I mentioned, Super Rugby, we've got, what else have we got? We've got not just Super Rugby, but we've got, well, Super Rugby's finished. We've got the July Internationals, we've got the Sevens in the Olympics coming up, then the Rugby Championship will be the next thing on the cards. Yeah, there's still plenty more that will be happening just around the corner. But the second half is not too far away. They've just mentioned Wales have beaten the South Africans 7 times in history. And now they've got a big opportunity to cause it to be a number 8. Where's this game being played? It is being played at Twickenham. And this match, we still appreciate the commentary. Thank you, says Tash. Yeah, that URC final less than 2 hours away now, ladies and gents. Bulls versus Glasgow. Going to be a fantastic game. But Wales, they'll be kicking this one off from right to left to get us back underway for what has been a close game throughout the first 40 minutes, but nicely taken by Evan Roos. Sounds like Wales haven't made any more changes than they already did throughout that first half, with Azarati coming off and O'Connor coming on. Creel to light it up. Yeah, he was also very strong throughout that first half. I wonder what's being said in the South Africa locker room. Wales Rugby going to grow without North America? Well, they have to qualify, don't they? Like, they don't want to be just put in a competition to get beaten. They will be in the next World Cup more than likely because they would have had to make the adjustments and the improvements. They're also going to be in the 2031 World Cup because they are hosting it. Liam Williams now going back across. And that one's going to be taken at the back by Jordan Hendrickse up to the halfway line now, looking for the gap, but he's tackled well by O'Connor and then straight on the ball there. No, not rolling away. And Faf de Klerk takes the quick tap there for the South Africans. Eben Etzebeth back up to his feet. Wish the cricket was this good, says Tash. And Dr. Rassi having a stroke in their locker room. And thanks, S4C. The app you can, but not on the website, says Melissa. The Bulls playing at 6 o'clock. They certainly are. Yep, 2 hours time for they are in action. Quick answer from Ronde Esterhuizen, as well as Apelele Fasi Creel with the 4 pass on the outside to Makazole Mapimpi, who will score it in the corner, but I think they need to check that forward pass. We should put some South African teams in the MLR to give them good competition. That would help. Haven't watched a game without your stream in such a long time. It's not rugby without Hamish now, says Mr. Fantastic AJ. But Makazole Mapimpi, it sounds like this try is going to stand. I thought that it may have drifted forward that last pass. They're going to have a look at it here. Yeah, it's a forward pass to Makazole Mapimpi. I would like to think that they will have a look at this one. We're going to see it from this angle. Yeah, forward out of the hands from Jesse Creel. We called it on the spot, but are they going to look upstairs for it? No chance Wales are going to win. The only question is boxed by how much? Yeah, that is a forward pass from Jesse Creel. And Makazole Mapimpi was even looking back to see if the ref was going. We just hear happy with the pass from the TMO. The try is good, ladies and gentlemen. I don't think anyone thought that was backwards other than the TMO. But it's going to stand. Makazole Mapimpi gets the try in controversial fashion, but that's the try. Are you going to cover the Bulls game average? We certainly are. Yep. We got 30 minutes of build up so far forward. I can see the future. I'm a box supporter, says Hang a Rat. Nothing wrong with that. It was backwards out of the hands, but drifted forward, says Gary. WTF, says Xavier there. Now, Fuff de Klerk going to put this one high. Can't be a game of rugby without some controversy. I'm South African and I'm confused with the TMO, says Butterfly. Can't see the game, but I can see it was forward, says Pads are there. Now, Peter Steph the toy. Sitting 14 metres out. It's all about where your hands go, not the ball. Says I find chaos in the order. Now that one's going to be put high. Makazole Mapimpi chasing after it. Nicely taken by Sam Costello. Referee says Ben. Well, this ref is atrocious by that forward by Miles, and he didn't even go to the damn TMO. Well, I think the TMO did say it was fine in the end. He said the pass was clear. And that was as straight as the average woman. Interesting. But that's going to go high there from Alice Bevan now. Nice. Oh, that's a high tackle. Well, it's not a high tackle. It's tackling a man who was high, but he's not high as in substance. He's high as in the air. Liam Williams taken out Upper Lelefasi. If it's a forward pass, it's forward pass. TMO is a South African supporter. Says Spider-Man can touch down. Says Doctor, are you a box supporter? Says Blaine, I am neutral in this match, believe it or not. We praise both sides. Did you swallow helium and crack? Yes. How could you tell? Guess what the third one was? But now Upper Lelefasi, yeah, unfortunately for him, just not quite coming down safely as Liam Williams was underneath him. As a bot fan, that was a bad call, says Papa Rumble, or Rumpel, I should say. Go educate yourself on the laws, buddy. That was a forward pass, says ZK. It's not about the direction, it's about the motion in the ocean. Love you, dude, says Brum. That one's going to be not straight. Okay, they weren't happy about the line-out call there. TMO might be high, though, says Lilia. And they looked very forward. In fact, in the wide view, well, the early passes look forward too. Also forward it landed in Pretoria. Seems like a bad call, but maybe TMO saw something we couldn't. Says Kevin, yeah, I guess that's the benefit of the TMO. They do have multiple angles, and maybe we didn't see the one that made it look like it was backwards. But it looks like two more changes being made here. Frans Malharba makes his way onto the field, and that is going to be for Bongi Umbanambi. Frans Malharba on for Vincent Koch, and Bongi Umbanambi on the field for Malcolm Marks. Was just kidding, go the box. I know you were kidding, Bram. Don't worry. I got thick skin. I had to learn that from the World Cup. Is it a try or not? It was a try, so 21 points to 13 in favour of the South Africans. And to be fair, with how bloodshot my eyes are, Bram, it probably wasn't a bad guess. But, of course, it's just sleep deprivation. Do you think the Bokke are going to win? I don't think so. I think that last try shifted the momentum really nicely. Oh, a big shot coming from Fuff de Klerk, but the the scrum, still in favour of the Welsh. The South African supporter, that ball wasn't forward due to the rules, but the ref is definitely on our side. Says I find chaos in the order. Fuff de Klerk with the power, says Gary. And Bong, you better not speak Afrikaans today. We don't need more trouble, says Butterfly. Now, kicking this one high. It's going to be Alice Bevan. Nicely taken by Upper Lelefasi. He's just been a rock at the back. Other than that yellow card, he has been really, really strong for the Springbok. That one looked close to 4, but I think it's just drifted backwards for Fuff de Klerk that time. Oh no, they've called that one as a forward pass. That one wasn't as bad as the try Fuff de Klerk's asking the question, was it me who threw the forward pass? India not covered, says Herman. That one wasn't the worst. Like that, I'll be honest, the last one was worse than that one. I won't support any South African side who play any team in Europe, says Spider-Mick. We have there, who's your favourite player? In this game, in general, for like the lineups that they've got, I'll probably go Ebenezer, just because he is just such a tank, isn't he? He'll go out there, give you 110% every single game. I want South Africa to win, but I also want to say I told you so, says Cool Story Bro. That wasn't forward. Refs need the eye checks. Are you annoyed that France are not going to bring a strong team to New Zealand next year? It is what it is, unfortunately. Like, you can't help it sometimes. Like, sometimes there's going to be times that you see a strong side. It's like New Zealand sending their cricket team to Pakistan. They sent a slightly rough side, but then they did actually beat the Pakistan side a few times. Even as a beast, future greatest player of all time. What time is the All Blacks announcement, Hamish? So it will be 7:30 a.m. South African time on Monday, but it is 5:30 p.m. New Zealand time on Monday. So, yeah, early morning South African Monday, whereas it is kind of late afternoon for us here in New Zealand. But we got ourselves another scrum reset here, ladies and gentlemen. Currently sitting 32 minutes in. Fassy, well done. Says Ben. But yeah, like, he's been thoroughly impressive throughout this game, Upper Lily Fassy. And, of course, that yellow card dampened it a little bit. But other than that, most forward pass since the advent of the TMO. And that is going to be the penalty now going the way of the Springboks. Siya Kolisi on the sideline. Just come on the big screen and the crowd let out a big cheer. Do you think any Aussies got robbed from the Wallaby squad? I know that people were a bit sad about Luke Raymer and Ryan Lonergan missing out. Other than that, though, I don't think there was too many poor decisions. She had Holloway, but I think that was based off injury. And guys, get this straight. If a guy that passes the ball stays ahead of the ball, it's not forward. Says I find chaos in the order. Tartke has a rugby team, says Brahm. Oh, there's a Siya chant going around the ground at the moment. The TMO needs, and ref gets to giving ratings. If they get below pass scores, they are not allowed to ref international games. Once again, another big cheer for Siya Kolisi, RG Snyman, letting them know they're all cheering for you, mate. 8 points difference between these two sides at the moment, and Jordan Hendrickson has another opportunity to take a shot at the post. Joe Montana passes a less forward than that, says Fluffy, and wonder where they're going to place Farsi when Valimza is back. Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to see where they put Damian Valimza, whether they try and play him as a fly half again or whether they do put him at fullback. I honestly feel like he is much better at fullback. And if you've got Vili LaRue who's getting close to retirement, like, you do need that 15 option, and maybe it's Farsi and Valimza switching between the two. To be honest, some refs in club rugby are better than international refs, says Panzer Blaze, but I should mention that kick has gone over, making the score now 24 points to 13 in favour of the Boks. Apart from Ruiz, another newbies have impressed, says CK Gaming. Even Ruiz still has about, doesn't he have 5 caps for the Boks? I think Edward van der Merwe, like, don't get me wrong, he hasn't had the ball a lot, but he's had a good run down the wing and he's made the important tackles that he had to. So I feel like to a certain extent he's got to get a bit of credit for what he's done in this game. Like, he hasn't had to do more than he's done, if that makes sense. And then Ruiz running forward there, good tackle made on the Welsh again. Tie from Sam Costello. And Upper Lele Fussy again takes it under the high ball, giving away the penalty there for the Welsh. Not rolling away quick enough. Tell you what, that was pretty harsh on Tame Plumtree. He pretty much did as much as he could have to get out of there. The referee was very keen on getting that whistle in his mouth. I went to all female South African supporters in the Bok jerseys. Or why do all female supporters in Bok jerseys have large boobs? I do not know. I did not talk to enough of them to know why. How long you been a supporter, says Blaine? I mean, we've been doing our YouTube channel for about 4 years now, almost, which is quite impressive. But like, rugby-wise, it's a while. Like, we only really got back into rugby around 2020. There was a while there where I only watched the occasional game. It was around the same time as the channel started up that we started getting back into it a lot more. Perhaps the debuts will do better in their second game, says Butterfly. A weekend special, much better than Vilmsa. Says Uno rush defence on Hendrikse again. That was a knock-on in the breakdown from the South Africans by Hwaka Smith. Now breaking forward, making it up to the halfway line. Leave it now, is the call from the referee, Frans Malharba. Oh, Faf might have been taken out off the ball there. Now Hendrikse going across to Peter Steph de Toy. Are you doing something special for that 50k sub, Hamish? I want to. I'm not sure what to do, though. To be honest, for 50k, Frans Malharba, another big shot coming in on him. Now Oxness with the quick hands. Eben Smith with the offload to Kwaka Smith now. Gets his offload to Apalele Fasi. Grubber reminded, well fun to move. I think he's managed to... No, he's knocked it on in the end. Put some fuff on that leak, says Bram there. And very good game both sides. Well done, Wales. The last time it was something like 50-15 to the box, says Avon Chaos in the order. And coming on, Honeycomb should have replaced Roos. They're better number 8 in my opinion. Although, to be fair, even Roos I don't think's done too much wrong in this game. So, you know, you could look at both of them as an option. And people even talked about Ivan Roos maybe moving to number 6 in the future. Does YouTube send you a pluck? They do not know. It used to be 100k, but I think too many people were getting 100,000. So now they don't have that anymore, I don't believe. French team picked for Uruguay. I would run a riot because against this box team. Says Katzenel. And Morning RC up to Cuz. Says Spider-Mix looks like Grant Williams. Getting some gel. Put onto his wrists. Hang on, they're checking the TMO here. What is this going to be for? Now, I mentioned how the TMO can now look as far back as... Oh, red 5. Contact tackle. I believe that's against Ben Carter. This would have to be relatively serious for the TMO to pick it up, I would be thinking. Frog's got no chance versus these box, says Uno Bear. Although, when are they playing them? I guess at the end of the year, aren't they? In November. TMO needs to go away, says Pads Ablaze. And the French team picked for Uruguay. We're on a riot against this box team, says Katzenel. And stop about the bad decision. The box have had their fair share, says Korean. And there as well. Yeah, they're just checking this one from Ben Carter. See where the contact was. Nah. Not for me. I don't think that should be a penalty. He was getting ready to tackle him low. Oh, it might be a penalty at max, but I don't think it's going to be a yellow card, is it? Like, he's already bent. He's bent over, but they'll probably say yellow. I'm looking at it 15 times, and he dipped down, Frans Malharba, but they're saying that he was hit on the head and the neck. Club Rugby is better, more flowing rugby. And he dipped, shoulder on the jaw. 2 live streams have been playing the whole time on YouTube, but listen to Hamish as well. Says, cool story, bro. Right, what are they going to decide here? Is there mitigation? Is there a drop in height? And like they're saying, if there's ever an example of a late drop in height, oh, okay, so referee has said we can't see definitive evidence of head contact. TMO saying he can. Frogs can jump, says Uno. Which website should I go to? Depends on whereabouts you are in the world. Will depend on your options. It's because of the build time, mate. Lots and lots of build time, says Christopher DeVette. I'll give yellow, says Pads Ablaze. Right, it is going to be a yellow card here for Ben Carter. Franz dipped down. These stupid refs can't use their damn brains, says CK, and not a penalty, says Arts Robinson. And also we got their red or get GTFO. Oh. Is it a yellow? They're looking for him. It's just a penalty. That's a great decision. Like they're saying, could have been the 4th yellow card. They're destroying the game. No, they've come up with the right decision there. There was a clear duck from Frans Malharba as the contact was made. But like you've said there, Gary, you've made a good point. The refs are inconsistent because in another game that would be a yellow. You know, so we've got to make sure we find the fine line but it's just going to be the penalty in favour of the South Africans. They should put a limit per half on TMO checks. They shouldn't be able to go so far back, slowing down the whole game just for a penalty. But that is one of the rules that they changed. They can go as far back as the last stoppage now. Looks like Faf de Klerk has made his way from the field though, and that is for Grant Williams, who has now made his way on Christoph Ridley. Saying it is the line out for the South Africans. Before I make a bet, do you know how many Springboks are playing in the Bulls today? I know that they've got Kurtley Arendse. They have got a future Springbok in Cameron Hanekom in their lineup. And no limit TMO, get rid of them. Let the ref do the reffing. The refs have let this game become dangerous, terrible officiating. Says Cats are now nicely taken by Peter Steftotoy. Here comes Evan Roos. He's only a couple metres out at the moment here for the Springbok, but they are chasing their 4th try of the contest. Peter Steftotoy. And 3 metres out, Grant Williams having to work hard to keep his hands on the ball. Mostert runs very upright. Now Williams off Devon Roos. He's gone again. Is he going to be held up? Yes, he is, and it will be a goal line dropout now. That was close for Evan Roos. Got excited though, thought he was going to be able to get over the try line. Has a second crack at it. Hang on. TMO has said something. I think they've said that the TMO spotted. Oh no, it's goal line dropout. I think the TMO was checking a leg chop in that one. Wales are surprisingly good. Says faded and unbelievable. Says Brahman, great decision. Says Ben. I need to be ref and do international so I can tell TMO to get effed. Looks like an injury here. Doesn't look good for Gareth Thomas at the moment. Hamish, is there another Carter in the Welsh team? So they've got Ben Carter. They did have... What's his face? I can't think of the other man. Seb Carter, wasn't it? It looks like Evan Roos now making his way from the field. He's had a good game. Evan Roos. And now Ben Jason Dixon gets his debut. Some people may not know of Ben Jason Dixon, but just to let you know a little bit of a summary of his season. He has had 187 tackles made for the Stormers with a 91% success rate. He is actually 8th for overall tackles in the URC competition. He's had 10 turnovers won. He's carried almost 200 metres, and this is his first opportunity for the Springboks today. We have got Wales as a solid team. Hold on, man down. Says the Blues, Nate. A try from Wales, and this game is back on, says Ars Robinson. Yeah, the TMO is just unbelievable. They will review everything and look for something that's not there. Says Vader. Now Hwaka Smith running it forward and tackled low by Dewey Lake. Now Williams goes across to Umbanambi and behind Hendricksa goes to Apelele Fasiska pass to Andre Esterhazen. Great tackle made on him by Mason Grady, who pushed him into touch as well. And that is going to be the line out now for Wales. Built like built on, says Brahman. That might be the sign to take Esterhazen off the field and go for Damien De Lindy. Just while they've got a little bit of time to make that change. 25 minutes left as well. This game sucks arse like the URC. I mean, the URC final, though, just around the corner. Bulls versus none other than it will be the Glasgow Warriors. And we will be covering that game on the channel, ladies and gentlemen. So if you are new to the channel, of course, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Okay, they're saying that there was just a knock on. Be interesting. How far back are they going for this one? It sounds like they are going back for the penalty here. It's the penalty against Kwaka Smith for playing the man's arm in this one. Tell you what, you got to listen closely to the TMO at the moment because they are making a lot of decisions that if you don't hear what they say, they can be quite confusing. But yeah, that one, they've ended up grabbing the arm. Referee one game, never again, says Drink on the Moon. Yeah, it's not for the faint-hearted because you do get a massive amount of people telling you you're wrong the whole time. There shouldn't be a time limit on the TMO, and enjoyment doesn't come before safety. Bad behaviour needs to be punished. Says Katzenell. First time I heard Esterhazen's name. Probably wondering who his fly half is. Says Stefan. Now into the pocket. Gonna be kicked downfield from Sam Costello. Nicely taken by Upper Fussy. I think one critique I'll have for Wales is they haven't really challenged Fussy in the air. There's only been one time that I saw them go up for one, and that was actually when Edward van der Merwe was going up for the ball and Liam Williams was able to win it. I would have done refereeing if they didn't get so much hate. Says LB. And TMO just slow the game down and ruin it. Should get rid of them. Says Trajan. And there as well, there is a knock on now coming from the Springboks. That's Quagga Smith again. Well, he's looking very rusty coming back from his injury. He rushed back. I know that they weren't sure whether he was going to be available for this game, but let alone the first game up against the Irish. But he sped it along. And we're in the situation now. He's given away maybe 4 penalties. He's dropped the ball twice. And I don't think he's got a turnover as of yet. I should be a ref since I played and watched rugby for 18 years. I know all the rules and would be fair. What helps is I get said to me when I play, says Pads Ablaze. It's still on 10 for the box. He is the replacement 10 that will be coming on. I'm not sure if you noticed the passing from the box. If you go look at the Highlanders game in Super Rugby about 10 years ago, look at the passing patterns, definitely see Tony Brown's influence there. And there's going to be another penalty at scrum time going the way of Wales here. Not driving straight penalty against the Bok. Oh, I thought he started, says Faded. Nah, so they went with Jordan Hendrickse in that starting jersey. Looks like Gareth Davis making his way onto the field now. That is to replace the young man on debut, Ellis Bevan, who I don't think's had a terrible game. The only critique, like I said, was the fact that he has been getting a bit too much distance on those kicks that have made it so that Upper Fussy gets a free jump at the ball. Unbelievable. Says Bram, the box side, putting in an average performance. Says Stefan and Quaka having a shocker, too many errors. It looks like now Damien Dearlindy will make his way on. But it does seem to be that Rassi is trying to get him to find form for Quaka Smith, because he did put Ben Jason Dixon on the field for Evan Ruiz. So it's as if he said to Quaka, you're staying out there until you start getting it right. Which can be pretty brutal for a player. Like, sometimes when you're having a bad game, you just want to go off the field, but it seems like he's going to have to play the full 80 minutes here. Try and find his rhythm. But now the rolling maul for Wales. They're only 5 metres out from the try line. Rolling maul opportunity here. It's going to be dragged down. Or is it? They're over the line. The referee hasn't seen it. And they are going to go to the TMO to check this one. Try scorers, please, Hamish. So far we're seeing Jesse Creel, a penalty try, and Makazole Mapimpi for the Springboks. For the Welsh, just the one try coming for them. And that was the try of one of the forwards. I can't remember which one. It might have been Dewey Lake who did score it. Great opportunity here for Wales. Quaka must keep up. I'm impressed with the Welsh. I thought Box would have been up by 30 points already. Right, they eventually have the ball held up. I want to make sure that there is no initial grounding first. Right, there's the ball. It's held. Ooh. It was held up. We're going to need another angle than the one we just saw, though. I need glasses. I can't see that one. But that would mean that neither can they, more than likely, which would then mean it's going to be the goal line drop. Ooh. Goal line dropout, I think, is going to be the call here. Couldn't quite get it clearly grounded, says the TMO. Referees aren't even paid enough for the abuse they enjoy at my local club. I mean, the referee comes with a few punches. Says Katzenell. Who's looking the best for Wales? I think so far throughout this Welsh side, I would say that, Grady's looked good at 12 throughout this contest. Right, tackle and held up sounds like it's going to be the call here. So it should be a goal line dropout, but they're taking their time to look at this a lot. Okay, so Wales are asking for a penalty because they are saying that it was a rolling maul, but the referee says that there was a grounding first. Peter Steptoy having a shocker as captain, says CK. And And also we've got there, is House of Dragons violent like Games of Thrones? Because my mum won't let me watch it. Says, cool story, bro. I only need South Africa minus 10.5, says Max. So it is going to be a goal line dropout now. Did Bongi just ask for some time to talk to his team about a goal line dropout? Is that what I just heard? Surely I heard that wrong. It looks like Sasha Feinberg, Ngome Zulu, not too far away from making his debut. He will more than likely replace Jordan Hendrickse. Now Wales taking that one nicely. Cameron Winnett goes away to Aaron Wainwright. Runs it straight at Eben Etzebeth. Gutted that wasn't a try. Would have changed the game totally. Says Robinson there. Now Costello going across to Grady. And they saw the head off of a 2-year-old in the first episode, if that helps. Says Fluffy. Now it's going to be kicked in behind from Damien Dialindi. Oh, he's kicked it out on the full, though. Wanted the 50-22. It almost becomes a 50-22 in Wales' favour because they will go back to where Dialindi kicked it. And this is probably the perfect example at the moment for this game of why they have decided to give those guys who have been playing in Japan an opportunity for the Springboks here rather than completely young players. Because at the end of the day, there's some rough players out there at the moment for the Boks, and that is not down to the way that they have played in Japan. That is just down to the fact that they seem a bit rusty in the way that the Boks play and just getting international rugby under their belt. Unbelievable long TMOs. Says Kalen there, I swear we need this game. We look so rusty. Says LB, yeah, it's going to be massively beneficial for these guys compared to some of the other sides who don't have the luxury of a warm-up game heading into their July internationals. I think that the Boks will be very thankful for getting this chance. Bad mistake by Dialindi, direct into touch. And we have got the ice where we need this game. And now that you can hear it, says Fluffy. But now it's going to be in the hands of the South Africans. I believe that was a mistake. And line out time from the Welsh. Now Sasha Feinberg, Ngome Zulu tries to go short to Ben Jason Dixon. And now it's going to be the knock on and turnover coming the way of the Welsh. Big shot coming in from Ben Jason Dixon. Thought about the offload there for Grady twice. Neither time able to get it away. Peter Steftatoy went for the turnover. Just got off the couch. Says Brahm and Dialinde pronounce. Correct, please. Says Sandra. But now that is going to be the penalty going the way of the Welsh. And that is another one that they couldn't really afford to give away. Ratti makes his way onto the field. That is for Matthew Screech. Like I mentioned, has about a 95% tackling completion throughout the URC competition. I think Japan, or playing in Japan, is not good. Having to play international rugby, the competition is definitely lower, says Brian. And the players are rusty, first game in 8 months. So there will be some mistakes, new coaching staff as well, says Werner. Yeah, exactly right, which is why this is, like I mentioned, it's a great game to have for the Springboks before heading into that Irish series, because you want to have that time to be able to make your adjustments. The Boks so rusty you can hear their joints creaking, says Stefan. Mr. Feinberg will single-handedly bring Wales back. Reckon Barbarians will beat Fiji. I do think so. I'm very sad that that game's taken place at the same time as the URC final, because we would have loved to be able to cover both games. How the hell did he put that? Says Brian. Oh, no. Time off TMO check. What are we looking for this time? How far back are we looking? Is the question. There's head-on-head contact by the sounds of it. That kick to touch from Costello was appalling. Can't make errors like that. And again, we desperately need a try, says Robinson. Against Ireland, whole new ball game, says Werner. And Bok need to score 3 tries, says Derek. Now we're going to the TMO for some head-on-head. I'm not sure whose head connected with whose head. Just in the clean-out. Okay, referee just asked his touch judge, is it for the clean-out there? And the touch judge said, I actually have no idea what we're looking at. This Ruff lives himself on the big screen, says Blues Nate. That TMO says Jimbo. But that's the thing, they changed the rules. The TMO is now in power. They are able to do this. They are able to check every single breakdown. Oh. So I think it's for Umbanambi leading with his head in the rolling maul. I mean, it is head on head. The player is bent over in the rolling maul situation, and Mbonambi connects high, but I don't think that this can't be any more than a yellow, can it? And like I mentioned, any suspensions in this game means you miss the Irish series. It's careless, is the comment there from the referee. For anyone who's wondering, that translates to careless, but the commentators say that shouldn't be anything. How are they going to rule this? Player's pretty low, so I feel like, okay, it's going to be just a penalty. Once again, I feel like that is the right decision. What else he's supposed to lead with, says Uno there. And check now, all these guys crying about the TMO. Love this goal as it's against the box. Lol, says Papa Rumpel. There's nothing in it. People do this all the time. And we've also got there, careless, says Jimbo. And there's a damn contact sport. Come on, says CK. Okay, so it is just going to remain as the penalty in favour of Wales. This game's still got another 18 minutes. They talked about the new rules in terms of the free kicks not being able to be taken, or a scrum reset not being taken was supposed to speed up the game. But we have had a slower game here with the new rules than the old ones. Not much different to the call for the hit on Mal Harbour. As Rugby not ballet, says Bram. We have got their box will not be denied the bonus points. So, well, 1 year later to the day. It's my mum's birthday. Would you kindly wish her a happy birthday again? Her name is Rosa. She's 74 today. She truly appreciated last year. Thank you. So shout out to you, Rosa. Hopefully you do have a great birthday. I can't believe it's been a year since we were doing, this was probably, what was that? That would have been Super Rugby or URC, wouldn't it, Jacqueline? I believe at that stage. But yeah, hopefully you do have a great birthday, Rosa. I would play you happy birthday on guitar, but the guitar is sadly in storage, which is a big shame. Basketball is contact sport, rugby is a collision sport, says Gus. Hamish say, I don't think I could. I don't think I'll be able to pronounce it properly. Should be a yellow, says Callan. I love these safeties for players stuff, says Doctor, but that is going to be now the penalty to the Springboks. And the breakdown, I believe it was Damien Dialindi this time, who manages to get the turnover. The South Africans allowed to do 4 passes now. Must have missed the update to the laws, says Distractor Sports. Although, to be fair, the one that Fuff de Klerk did afterwards that looked like it was backwards, they called forward. So I feel like they were trying to even it out. It's just one of them led to a try, one didn't. But Tony, you'll be a happy man. Up the Blues, as they say. Yeah, it's crazy, wasn't it, the World Cup? Although World Cup, I think we would have started in around October. So since we saw you, it was probably the World Cup. But since your mum's birthday, it would have been around that URC finish, I think. Or maybe internationals taking place. And poor attacking from Wales. They're poor in the tackle area. Turn over to Damien's mustache. Oh, good contest in the air from both sides. Dame Plumtree not able to get the turnover. He's actually got 6 throughout the regular season. Oh, yes, you are right. There's Jacqueline there. Now, Edward van der Merwe has to play halfback. He is the size of one. 18 minutes of TMO. That all been hearing, says that. Yeah, there's been a lot of looking at things throughout this match, unfortunately. Right, the ball is available here. Oxnisheh going to put it back to Grant Williams. Now getting ready for that box kick once again. Edward van der Merwe chasing after it. Change of the line there from Gareth Davis. Could have been a penalty. Now Peter Stitatoy through the middle of the breakdown isn't able to get that turnover. Aaron Wainwright going to run it hard. Always does when he's got his hands on the ball. That's right. They've missed some good opportunities, says Brian. Now Gareth Davis has been told to use it again. Oxnisheh or Niche, says Uno Bear. Oh, nicely taken by Fanberg, Ungumer Zulu, Grant Williams. Well, that's another penalty this time. Tame Plumtree does not roll away. He looks injured though. I think that is why he hasn't moved. Welsh Dragons fire up your shoes, hit that try line, and what the hell are Wales doing? Unfortunately, they are just making simple errors that are causing them to lose a lot of possession and a lot of territory in this contest. It's certainly not going the way that they would have liked, but shot has been called here. They are going for the 3 points now, the South Africans. That might be a little bit of a happiness moment there for Wales, the fact that South Africa back in the 3, but of course 3 points here would take them to 27, which would give them a 14-point lead. Now Sasha Feinberg, Ngume Zulu, his first kick of the match and also his first kick of his international career for the Springboks. Gareth Davids must wash the porridge out of his hands. And also we have got the happy 74 Froza and no scrum from a free kick to cut out dead time. Half an hour of referees staring at the big screen, says RJJ. Yeah, it seems slightly ironic, doesn't it, that the point of getting rid of scrum resets was to speed up a contest, whereas now the contest, like, we are going to be lucky if this game doesn't take 2 hours. And Ngume Zulu, he's 100% for his international career. Rassi laughing about it in the commentary box as well. He is loving it at the moment, or the coaching box, I should say. The man who doesn't eat salad, says Derek Oxnashire. And wait, what team is Zulu from? He's good. So Sasha Feinberg Ngume Zulu, he plays for the Stormers. And yeah, he's had a decent season overall for them. I got all his stats here on my little spreadsheet. Throughout the season for Ngume Zulu, he had 5 tries, 13 clean breaks, 13 defenders beaten, 288 metres carried, and then made 72 tackles at a success rate of 77%. Got to split those poles like a pantry. Says Bram. Sasha is the next Franz Stein. I'm sorry for offending the URC because they would have scored another try by now. Now the Stormers, says Uno there. Nice run from Ngume Zulu. The one almost rode up a little bit high from Tame Plumtree. Better Steph the Toy tackled low. Gets back up. Has another go there. What's your local team? Mine is West Harbour. Says Mac. I think my local team, if you're talking about kind of provincial stuff, would be South Canterbury. Nice tackle made by Edward van der Merwe there. And another penalty goes the way of the South Africans. Now they can take another 3, and this will give them a 17-point lead. That 4 pass that led to the try was up there with the 2007 French game, says Distracted Sports. And Wales giving away endless penalties now. This game is over. South Africa win. Yep, they haven't been able to control the second half at all here, Wales. And if they're not careful, they are in a position where they could concede 1 or 2 more extra tries. Definitely with the South Africans kicking this one for the corner rather than going for the 3. Sharks, plenty Sharks in this team. Yeah, quite a few. No Bulls players, of course, because of them playing in the URC final. That has taken place in an hour and 20-minute time, ladies and gentlemen. A bunch of South African peeps listening to the box game on a New Zealand-hosted YouTube show. DSTV should truly be ashamed of themselves. Says not out. I agree. If there was ever going to be a game that they should have shown for free in South Africa, it is this warm-up game. Like, you can have the paid subscription for the rest of them, but have this one free to air. In South Africa, that is a try off the rolling maul there. And it looks like Bongi Umbanambi is the man who has popped up with the ball in hand. South Africa slept at the power station last night. Remember the last 10 minutes, says Marcel. Welsh performance has gone totally pear-shaped the second half. It's not good enough. And perfect kick, Sasha, says Hillary. And he's going to have another opportunity to line up another one here. There is still a chance that the score goes about 30 points in favour of the Springboks if Wales cannot find something in the second half. The Mighty Box proving why they are the best team in the world right now, says Gary. Yes, Bongi, says Uno Bear there as well. Right, they just checked that one on the TMO and they said that the try is good. But 32-13, all of a sudden things are different. Says, cool story, bro. What was my original prediction? My original prediction for this game, it was pretty harsh in favour, or against the Welsh, but I think it was 50-12. This might not be a mile off. Unbelievable. Says Bram, the unboxed try. And let's go to the box, says Marcel. And there as well. Getting ready to kick this one for Sasha Feinberg. Ngume Zulu got himself his first kick over just prior to this And he's got another one over there, making the score 34 points to 13 in favour of South Africa. And also we there go the box. There's James Taylor, and that's that. Floodgates about to open in a big 10 minutes. And how you make that fancy tri-text, says Uno Beer. So it is one of the channel membership buttons that are available. I do enjoy and appreciate your show, however, says Night Owl. I do appreciate that, although I am fully in agreement with you as well that they should have shown this game somewhere for free for South Africans. Like, at the end of the day, if they showed this game for free, maybe that would have convinced some people to sign up for DSTV, and then they would have made that money that they wouldn't have made anyway, if that makes sense. 8 Sharks, Hendrickson and Esterhazen included, makes 10 Sharks players. Says Lilia there. It's going to be kicked high. And that's knocked backwards by Aaron Wainwright. Hit pretty late from Franco Mostert. Now Gareth Davis. Can they change anything here in the last 10 minutes here for Wales? Can they get back into this contest? Looks spot on, says Mac. The total in the beginning of the game was 55.5. Yeah, that won't be a mile off of this one. Wide cut out pass goes to Rio Dyer. Manages to keep the ball in the field of play. Won't go into touch, and well handled by Damien Dialendi. Extremely close to running that ball out. Looking for the turnover there for Wales. And they do not get it. Makes sense, but DSTV greedy and they're going to go bankrupt. Says Uno Bear. And Bongi Dunwell, says Ben. And there as well, but currently 15 or so meters out from their own line here. South Africa will go for the box kick once again. And Grant Williams does get that ball into touch. Built like Biltong, says Brahma, watching from South Africa. Says Megan. And forget DSTV. They are a total rip-off, says the farm. Well, I will mention anyone who does want to watch, well, hear about games that are happening in the future. Be sure to hit that subscribe button. We have got plenty more coming. We are covering all of South Africa's game throughout the July internationals, one of which is going to be their match up against the Irish in that first game. July 7th for us here in New Zealand, July 6th, 5 p.m. kickoff in South Africa for both of those games, and then also up against Portugal the week after is taking place as well for the Welsh. They have got 2 games up against the Australians that will be on the Saturday, 6th of July and 13th of July. Then they will play the Reds on Friday just for a bit of fun. I don't know why, because the Reds won't have some of their players due to international duty anyway, so it just seems like a weird throwaway game. This game is not on KO Sports in Australia. No, Hamish, DSTV is too expensive these days for normal salary people here, says Night Owl. And yeah, that's the thing, like, they've got to make it affordable, like, because South Africa, if they make an affordable option, people will pay money to watch, like, not a huge amount, don't get me wrong, like, they don't have to charge them an arm and a leg, but just, you know, for a country that should be showing rugby because they are very good at rugby, they don't. It's same with Fiji. At one point, they took away the Fijian Sevens from Fiji TV, which was just absolutely ridiculous because they are known for their rugby sevens. Rugby is going to teach a generation of fans to follow Hamish, says Gus there. Thanks for covering the game live, says Heidi Schmidt. No worries at all, and we have got plenty more coming, like I mentioned, including the URC final, which is kicking off in 1 hour and 10 minutes time. It's going to be the cross kick there. And Apalele Fassi again under the high ball has been sensational this game. Nice to see some new players come on. Says Hillary, and Box are going to have it. I have to up their game against Ireland, good thing. It'll be home games for the Box. I know my voice sounds sexy. For an Aussie, I'm listening to you on my phone, says Bram. I'm sick and tired of all this paywall stuff, says Fluffy, and thanks for this feed, says Michael. No worries at all. Going to be kicked high, nicely taken by Cameron Winnett. Now, Davis going to the left-hand side here, off to Wainwright. Now, still making some good meters here for the Welsh, but they need to make a few more. And time, says Marcel, at the moment we are sitting 73 minutes through this contest. Gareth Davis, oh, that's a late shot on him by Salman Morat. Seemed like just a pushover for the sake of pushing the man over. Mark taken by Apalele Fassi. Of course, with the new rules, they cannot take a scrum now for the South Africans. I think they were the only side that were affected by that rule, seeing as Damien Valimza taking that mark in the Rugby World Cup. Expected more from the Box today. Ireland are going to be way harder, says Jan. And Oz, I love you, Bok. Or we love you, Bok, says Absa. In there as well. Go South Africa, says Tas. Apalele Fassi. I think he has got player of the match, has he? They didn't show it there, but they just showed his name on screen. Are we just a damn sport package? That's it. Starting to get up, says Bram. Tame Plumtree makes his way from the field for Mackenzie Martin. Only has himself 3 caps for the Welsh. URC final scheduled to start in 1 hour, 10 minutes. But the video referee needs to take a look first, says Gus. Yeah, unfortunately, it's going to become a running meme, isn't it, of how long it takes for them to make some of their decisions. Now kicked high by Grant Williams. Oh, that's an ugly one for Makazole Mapimpi. Went up for the ball, wasn't able to take it cleanly, and said the Welsh have got it. This new TMO rule is feeling like gridiron, says Jan. Yeah, there's going to be times where they stop the game 15 times to check TMO things. Kicked high now. And nicely taken again by Apalele Fasi. That man has just taken everything. Who's your pick for man of the match? I honestly think I would go with Apalele Fasi for what he's done in the air in this game. Edward van der Merwe breaks the line, showing his pace, and he will score on debut for the South Africans. Brilliant try for him. He is fired up. Made those 2 crucial try-saving tackles last half, and now scores one of his own. I'm so glad South Africa is going to win the URC final. Would have been flat otherwise, and actually the Boks have had very few easy games against Wales historically, says Nicholas. And some new players with great potential, and he is one of them there. Edward van der Merwe scores on debut. Apalele Fasi needs some of the credit, though, being able to take that one under the high ball. Are they going to try and check to see if maybe Jesse Krill infringed on a player who was trying to go through? It wouldn't surprise me with this TMO. DSTV could look at a sports package or affordable options, but won't. South Africa Rugby is too valuable to them. We almost did not have the Rugby World Cup on view because they agreed. I told you last 10 minutes, says Marcel, and rules from bad to worse, and why we need a ref on the field if TMO run everything. I called it 30 points to South Africa in the second half. Don't anyone ever doubt me again, says Gary. Although they haven't got quite the 30 points in the second half as of yet, do they? Because they have 14, so they've only got 25 at this point, Gary, but they'll get there. Why is it unavailable on DSTV, says Rich Live Motivation. The kick is over from Feinberg Ngome Zulu, and that is now going to make the score 41 points to 13 in favour of the Springboks. All that to call a simple penalty, says Jan. A well player of the match, says Hilary Mapimpi, also reaching end of his career with Arinsa, Moody, Colby, and new talent coming to the fore. His time is limited, says Stefana. Nope, I said to win by 30, practically there already, says Gary. Good job, Hamish, says Erno. 4 minutes left. Grant Williams goes off to Salman Mora. This looks like the Boks are looking to attack on the short side, but Feinberg Ngome Zulu has knocked the ball on the ground. So it is now going to be the scrum for the Welsh. It's the betting mafia, says Derek. It looks like my prediction of 42 for the Boks. Wales 15 wasn't far off, says Hanger Rat. See, my original prediction was 50 to 12, so I feel like I'm a little bit off, depending on whether or not we see, of course, another try being scored here. Still, the 3 minutes left. Wales just ran out of steam. They had a good first half, though. Yeah, like, their first half, they deserve a lot of credit for the way that they were able to play, but unfortunately that second half just hasn't quite hit the same for them, and South Africa did whatever happened in the changing shed, whatever Rassi said, it obviously fired them up enough that they were able to play a lot better. The WRU, so much to answer for this rubbish, says Jack. Now, quick tap taken there for the Welsh because of the free kick. That was impressive for South Africa's B team, which is good for the first team against Ireland. Says good story, bro. Although, like, you say B team, but there's still a lot of first team players in this team. Like, you look through at the forward pack, and I honestly don't think they'll change anything for that Irish match, other than maybe Franz Malherbe starting rather than Vincent Koch. You know, you still got Mapimpi, Kriel in the back line. You got a few guys in the backs that are switched out, but this is still a very strong side. Well, they're definitely hiding for Wales. They look gassed, says Bram there. 2 minutes left, says Marcel. And there as well, in time to shoot off MEC at the Bulls versus Glasgow Kakite. This is not B team, says Uno there. Now 5 metres out from the line. It does look like it's going to work out here for Wales, but well defended by the Springboks. Rolling maul. Now short ball across to the youngster James. Another one of the debutants in this game. So many notable names missing. Oh, the Welsh big shot coming in from Grant Williams. In fact, no, that is the big man, Untuthoku Machunu. There was a knock on in the tackle. Marks won't start versus Ireland. They put Bongi at 2. Although Bongi did actually have a little bit of an injury before, but it does look like he's all right to continue. Little chip in behind. Does go dead. And out to catch the good games except for napping incident, says Robert. And there as well. But yeah, the next game starting in 1 hour and 35 minutes time. 1 hour, 5 minutes time, but we are starting in 35 minutes time for that next live stream. We're going to have 30 minutes. Oh, we're going upstairs for another TMO. They don't need to check everything. Definitely not in a game. Like, it's not going to change the game. With 28 points difference between the sides. It's going to be slapped back there. That is actually Jesse Creel slapping it dead. So that could be, if that's like Quinton Strange's one, that could be a penalty try yellow card for Jesse Creel here. Now, how's it become a goal line dropout? He's attempted to catch it with one hand. And they're saying it's an attempted catch in the in-goal area. I think Jesse Creel is extremely lucky there not to have a yellow card and a penalty try against him. And I know that sounds harsh, but we saw it in the Crusaders game up against the Reds. The exact same scenario. Quinton Strange slaps it dead, ends up with a penalty try, red card. That cost the Crusaders the game. But they didn't see it that way. They saw it as a deliberate catch at the ball with a single hand. Good. Now 45 seconds remaining in this game, ladies and gents. Passing out wide. That is a knock-on. And Timo is honestly taking the piss. Thanks so much for watching the next game. Edward Fun and Merva should get player of the match. And you need a sharp and quick fly half to get our excellent backline movement. Hopefully sanity will prevail and Lebok will soon be back in the picture. Timo is ridiculous, says David DeMatos. Referee and TMO have been anti-Welsh this game, says Robinson. And the main team with bits of adjustments. I'm head to sleep. Thank you for the streams, Hammy. Good night, all. Says Bands of Blade. So we will see you later. I love your expression, Hamish. TMO again. Yeah, the fact that we've had so much TMO, like, don't get me wrong. This game is still one-sided, ladies and gentlemen. First half close, second half Springboks domination. But do we really need to have the TMO get involved 15 times in a half of rugby? You know, like they talked about trying to speed up the game, but this is slowing it down. We've almost had a 2-hour game of rugby in this one. Awesome stream, Irish brother. Well done, Box, says Birdie V. Oh, free kick for the Springboks, so they will take that one quickly. Well, Grant Williams across to Damien Dialendi. Offload to Sasha Feinberg, Ungume Zulu. Kwaka Smith. One more across. Going to Dialendi. Now, Feinberg Ngume Zulu sold as if he was going to be kicking that one as the South African. I feel bad for Wales. This ref is definitely on our side. We still would have won without him. Says, I find chaos in the order. And now, Dialendi. Looking for that next pass here when the Bulls versus Glasgow final. Man of the match 2, says David. Or the TMO, I assume that is. But that is going to be now obstruction. And that is full time. 41 points to 13. The first game of the year for South Africa, and they have got themselves the victory. Evans limping here. Hopefully nothing too serious for that man. Evil Fun to move. It looks like he is now overrun with emotion from this game. Rassi Erasmus, he will be happy. Well, he'll be happy enough with the performance here from the South Africans. They have to make sure that they're that little bit more clinical throughout the first half of their next game, though. And that is, of course, going to be up against the Irish. This is an unimpressive penalty try, forward pass try, and 2 to 3 cards for an inexperienced Welsh B team. Game last in the Six Nations with the ref helping South Africa. Thank you for making top-notch rugby accessible for us lesser mortals. Says Vivian, no worries at all. And we are going to be back for the Bulls final, where they will be going head-to-head with none other than it will be the Glasgow Warriors. We are starting 30 minutes before their World Rugby and their laws. They keep this law. You do 4 to 6 games in a day. That might be a human rights issue, Hamish, says Gus. And the Welsh team was immense. Says, yeah, that first half, they really took it to their opposition, which I think was was, it was extremely impressive because at the end of the day, like, they weren't given much of a chance in this game. And the end score, of course, doesn't look too favourable. But the fact that it was 14-13 at half-time, I call conspiracy. That 4-pass stole it. Unlucky Wales, the Freemasons don't like you. Nor does Musk. Says, cool story, bro. And a fair ref would have given Wales at least a penalty try there, says Robinson. And also we have got there, thank goodness that bad show is over, says Doctor. My tween, so impressed you mentioned my comment. Thanks, mate. Says David, no worries at all. And yeah, we do try our best to read most comments, even the ones with some swearing. We try and cut it out, of course, where it swears. But yeah, greatly appreciate you being here. Hopefully we do see you for the Bulls versus Glasgow game, which we are going to be starting in 30 minutes time, ladies and gentlemen. Be sure to tune in for that one, as it is hopefully going to be a less stop-start game, I would say, than this one. It should be 40-20, penalty try for sure, says Brian. And thanks so much to the Irish. Will be a true class matchup. Time for dinner, says Warren. And Pumpkin Rumple Facts. Lol, don't bath with the toaster. Yeah, that's probably that's basic advice, isn't it? But it's true. Don't do it. Not ideal. We have got the other waving from Robert. But nonetheless, I do thank you all very much for tuning into the first Springboks game of the year. Of course, Wales, this is their sixth matchup. They are going to be playing up against the Australians in the internationals. For anyone wondering about when South Africa are going to be playing, that is not the right one. That is. There we go. They are going to be playing pretty much the same time as now, 14 days' time, ladies and gents. They will be kicking off up against the Irish. It's going to be epic. We're going to be covering it on the channel as well, ladies and gents. So if you are new, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. The week after, they are playing Ireland again, and then their third game of the July internationals will not be up against the Irish. It is instead going to be up against the Portuguese. Thanks for the commentary, but disappointing second half. There's a Robinson there. And thanks for filling the gap, Bamish, says Jan, no worries at all. And yeah, hopefully you guys are able to catch the highlights or the full match replay somewhere for free. But yeah, nonetheless, I do thank you all very much for tuning in. If you did enjoy, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Like I mentioned, that next stream for the Bulls is going to be taking place just around the corner in less than an hour's time till kickoff and less than 30 minutes till we do start our live stream. Thank you all very much for being here. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And I will see you all for the next one.